What is up, RotoGrinders? Dean here, Dean78904. That is the daily fantasy handle. Hopefully we take something down with that screen name on the old FanDuel, the DraftKings, playing a little MLB DFS baseball tonight. Start of 2+ hours of nonstop MLB, nonstop, no nonsense, no nothing for sure. 2 straight hours of MLB DFS content, taking y'all straight up to lock and beyond. You got chief meteorologist Kevin Roth going to be jumping in crunch time today. I'm curious how much we're going to, we always need Roth, but how much do we need him? Because we may get a cancellation as far as this is DK specific, but that Washington game looks really, really dicey. It is Washington. They have a history doing goofy stuff weather-wise. They cancel games when it's not even raining, but basically 100% chance to rain throughout the entirety of that game. It's the back half of a doubleheader, which means, of course, FanDuel does not include that game. So that game is not in the FanDuel slate. FanDuel does not really mess with doubleheaders. Joined today by Tasteful Tides, wine and cheese connoisseur, baseball DFS connoisseur, hockey connoisseur of many things, connoisseur of comedy and SNL, as per our pre-show conversation. What's going on, Tim? How are things in your world? Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday, Dean. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. This is actually, we're getting right down to it for MLB last week of the year, but this is actually a really good slate. So I think that there's some decent contests out there, and it's a good slate. There's a lot of different ways you could go tonight, so I'm pretty excited to break it down.
I just want to roster like 7 pitchers. Can I do that? Is that possible? Can I finagle with the roster? No, it's not possible, right? It's not going to happen, but it's insane. It's almost like opening day with the way it's loaded as far as pitchers, and that's like the brunt of the conversation. You best not miss when it comes to pitchers today. You got Jacob deGrom, you got Corbin Burns. The list doesn't stop. Darvish and Kershaw and Framber Valdez, who finally had his quality start streak broken at like 27 or whatever it was. He finally had a little bit of a hiccup. Manoah's on this slate throwing baseballs. Nobody going to play him. Max Fried's awesome. Nobody's going to play him. Sandy Alcantara, he's only like the Cy Young. Nobody cares. Whatever, 5%. That's
he's going to be 1% on FanDuel too.
Yeah. It's insane. He's a quality start on layaway, right? Yep. You don't get any bonus. DK, you get bonus points for complete games, right? Or is it CGSO? Does that have to be an SO?
I thought that you got bonus points for complete games also, but I might not be.
Yeah,
I might be wrong about that.
This is I was looking ahead, and like he is scheduled for what it's worth to pitch on Wednesday, the final day of the season. I don't know if that that kind of stuff is fickle, and there's no upside, I guess, to having him pitch. And he's already got essentially the Cy Young clinched. Nobody's thrown more innings in baseball this season. I think he's like 220 or something like that, well ahead of the field, like 20 or so than anybody else. 20% of the league's complete games, 18% of the league's complete games or something like that. It's just a silly number. Derek in chat's telling us that complete game is a stat on DraftKings. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a CGSO specifically.
Yeah.
What's up, chat? Kindly hit that like button, subscribe, turn on those notifications. Appreciate y'all grinding out the last few days of the baseball season with us. Of course, if you're not aware, we'll be doing this for basketball, the association, which is less than 3 weeks away. Get excited for that. Obviously, football, full swing. If you hit those notifications, there's football content on the RotoGrinders stream all times. Pile of shows. The PFF show, I believe, that was yesterday with Britt. Roto World show was today. Is that what it was? The Underground Roto World? No. I'm probably saying the wrong name now. Roto. You know what? It's Fine for and the Fantasy Mansion guy and somebody else.
Matt, my good friend Matt Kelly.
Is he your good friend?
Yep, he sure is.
Really? I don't. Yeah.
We're very close personal friends. He's also from Maine, Dean.
Oh,
originally. But yeah, we're close friends. I went to his wedding something like 13 years ago or however long it was.
Really? Okay. Yeah. And how much of that is shtick? How much of that is a gimmick?
Actually not that much. Like if you went out to eat with him, he's definitely the loudest guy in the restaurant, and he's a pretty funny guy. He's a real nice guy too. So I mean, it really isn't that much of a an act. Really.
Yeah. I think he used to rock sunglasses. Has he stopped doing that? I feel like I haven't seen him with sunglasses of late. I'm not sure what's going on there.
He does whatever the hell he wants on his podcast. I mean, sometimes he's got sunglasses, sometimes he doesn't, but it's not a regular thing. But yeah, he and Dario Offstein and Eric Beimfor were on the show. Yeah, the show earlier, and and I'm actually doing a show with Eric this Sunday, right before crunch time.
Oh, we're going to be handing it off to you. You're stepping in.
Yeah, we're going to be doing the GPP final takes, I believe it's called.
Yep. Yes, and then the crunch time follows that, taking you guys up the lock as far as the football season as well. If we have time, I don't know if we will or will not. If the chat has any questions, are you prepared to talk football at all? A lot of news broke today as far as in and out like this. But overall thoughts on the slate, I'm sure you have some, I imagine. But we'll
I have some, but I have not been paying attention to the news other than I know Montgomery's out. And is Amon St. Brown out too?
Yeah, no Sun God. Amon-Ra, Swift's going to be out as well, which kind of, takes a hit as far as that Detroit-Seattle game. We're seeing Geno Smith popping in optimals, which is never comfortable.
Wow.
On DK, I should specify. DK it's a tight squeeze, man. It's tough to make stuff work over there. Maybe Reynolds is going to be popular for Detroit. I'm not always sure. Who else do we see? Renfro is out now. They did officially rule out Mac Jones. I know Mac Jones was seen at practice, but he's not going to be practicing. You mentioned Montgomery. Jamal Williams, of course, is going to be out too. We'll be talking about that throughout the week. And if the chat wants us to dive into that, at some point throughout the show, again, we're here for the next hour and 20 minutes. Then crunch time comes in. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. I believe you guys get I think it's Carty and Cheese. Dave Potts, 2-time millionaire winner. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the combination.
Did you say that Jamal Williams is out?
Did I say that? I didn't mean to.
That's what I thought you said, but that's not right, is it?
That is incorrect.
Okay, that's what I thought. I think that's what you said, Dean. If you didn't, I apologize, but that's what I heard. So yeah, I was like, what?
So Swift is out, and Jamal Williams is going to be really popular, which is why.
Jamal Williams is going to be the chalk, I thought.
Yeah. Man, I didn't play the baseball slate last night. I should have. I feel like I should have. And the two pitchers went. The obvious pitchers were great. Rodon and Ohtani almost threw a no hitter. By the way, you know how people make fun of me for being a mush, right? It's an alleged mush. I was talking to a friend of mine last night. We were on the phone, and I go, oh, did you know Ohtani's throwing a no hitter? It's like, oh yeah. And literally a second later, boom, base hit, 8th inning. So my powers are very impressive, apparently.
I played Chase Edmonds in Showdown last night, and my broccoli boy calls me on the phone. He goes, hey, you watching the game? And I said no. And he goes, well, Chase Edmonds just dropped the easiest touchdown ever in the end zone. And I was like, great. So I didn't watch the rest of the game, but I did end up catching. So I did win Showdown last night.
Everybody's this guy, right? But I had the nut lineup I was off by 0.3. And in the very last, first of all, I don't understand why the Dolphins are playing Mostert in the hurry up 2-minute drill offense over Edmonds, which is weird. You weren't watching the game, but why is Mostert out there and not Edmonds? Isn't that kind of his MO, his modus operandi? But that was just kind of weird. But my best lineup had Mostert, and he caught a pass, and I think Hill caught a pass, and that was my two pieces there on the Miami side. And I was right there. I was like, oh man, I'm right there. And the very last play of the game, Mostert's in the flat on the left-hand side, Hill's in the flat on the right-hand side, and he threw an incomplete pass. That'll be Bridgewater threw an incomplete pass. End of the game, 40 seconds to go, take a knee, that kind of thing. But if I would have got a pass, I assume, especially Mostert, we would have had some fun last night. Me and my friends, because, not my friends,
right.
Coach friends, because it wasn't the most unique lineup, but I don't play in the millionaire contest anyway. I was playing in I split a satellite ticket, something like that. It's I was wondering how they're going to chop that up. It was a $4,500 ticket, split 3 ways. They just gave me the cash.
Don't you go to a tie break or something like that?
No, they gave me the cash. So I was like, oh, that's fine. I'll take that.
Yeah.
It was a $4,400 ticket to something, NFL maybe. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the baseball slate looked like fun last night because Kelnick had a couple homers, Haniger had a couple homers, I believe.
Man, that's tilting. I always play Kelnick, and he never does anything. And then I didn't play baseball at all last night because I played Showdown, and Kelnick hits, what you say, 2 home runs?
I think so, yeah. I mean, obviously, Kelnick, we know, is a one-time huge prospect, one of the bigger prospects in all of baseball. 2 homers for Garcia for Texas, I believe, according to Derek in chat. Oh, man, do you have like a thought on this? I don't really have a thought in this. Everybody's giving Big T the business about the unique debate as far as, I presume, the conversation B-Shot's asking about, the principle, the idea of, like, if you ask somebody like Blender, the idea is to have the best possible lineups in Showdown that are as scarce as possible. Have the best lineup that's the most unique, if that makes sense, right?
Right.
And, like, there's a lot of people that won, Big T, I guess, was one of them, that won with a lineup that was well-owned, I guess, to some degree.
Yeah, he won. Is this last night you're talking about, or Monday
No,
night?
this is several days ago.
Yeah, this is when he put the kicker at captain.
Yeah. This is Giants Dallas, I believe.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And also, like, theoretically, like, if I think the lineup was, like, put out there publicly. Like, in all the sports, like, this is the one thing you want to be a little bit unique, a little bit different, right? Just tinker, as an audience member, you're supposed to, like, not just duplicate that lineup either. And this is not being bitter. Like, congratulations for winning. Good for y'all and everybody that played that lineup. But, like, theoretically, you're not supposed to do that, right? Right. According to the rules.
Right.
But, you want a scoreboard, you want a bunch of money. So congratulations. So Peter Porker in chat says finished 4th. If Mostert would have caught that last pass. Yeah, I think I would have right there. We probably had the same lineup because I was right there with you. It's one little bit last night in Showdown. So that was nice. Taking some momentum into the NFL season. And whatever's on your mind, chat, feel free to fire it off. Did I drop the weather report in chat? I don't believe I did. Straight orange for Washington tonight. And again, Ross just saying, like, look, it's just going to rain. It's going to rain that entire game. It's just we're running out of days, right? Like, they want to get as much in as they possibly can. I guess they're playing tomorrow, Philadelphia and Washington.
If you don't mind me just jumping in real quick, both those teams just set out their lineups. I don't know what that means, but both Philly and the Nationals have their Game 2 lineups out already. So I don't know what's going on. I'm obviously another weatherman, but I mean that's all remnants from Hurricane Ian.
Yeah.
So I mean it's not like it's gonna stop raining.
100% chance of rain. It's gonna rain through the entire game.
Right. I'd be shocked if they play this game. I just don't see how they can. But
it's weird.
And the thing is, I have a little bit of interest in the Nationals as like some cheap plays, because I obviously will get to it, but I want to pay all the way up in pitching today. So, when I was initially looking at the slate before I saw the weather report, I was like, oh, I want to play some of these Nationals, as gross as that sounds. But now I'm definitely not going to.
I think, at least earlier today, the biggest total on the board, I believe, was Philadelphia. They're just under 5 at 4.97. No, the Dodgers is bigger, right? Yeah, Dodgers 5.6. Okay, they're facing Chad.
The Dodgers are bigger, but I mean, but you're right though. Philly's in a good spot too. But I'm not going to play either one of them now.
Yeah, well, the weird thing is, like, if they commit to play, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't want to play that game, but like, either you're playing or you don't. Like, you know what you're getting yourself into.
And what if they start and they get through 5 innings and they're just like, and then the weather gets like even worse?
And
then they just call it. I mean, I see that as a potential outcome also. So I'm not even gonna bother with that game. Whether, unless Roth says something drastically different later on.
Yeah, we'll see what Roth has to say. Weather is fluid, but I mean, it does seem highly unlikely that it's going to really significantly improve there much. But like this slate, and that's the thing, is like Philadelphia looks great because the hitting is so bad. The hitting is terrible on this slate. The Dodgers, a team that's locked it up for several days now, obviously just kind of chilling, but they're getting to face Chad Cool, all those lefties, and they're really cheap too. Of course, you can roster guys like Betts and Will Smith as well, and who knows what they're going to be rolling out. They probably rest somebody. We'll see. Stay tuned. But Lux and Bellinger and Gallo, Muncy specifically on FanDuel is really cheap over there. And Chad Cool, is one of the weaker on a slate that's piled, just loaded with good pitchers. one of the more vulnerable ones. San Diego side also well positioned. I think against Davis Martin. 2 last names. Wait, is that 2 last names? No, it's a first name and a last name. It's just reversed, right? No, your last name can be Martin. 2 last names, or 2 first names. It's both. I think it's both. I need an official ruling, Tim.
I don't know. I don't know what to say, Dean. I'm lost.
Your first name could be Davis. Your first name could be Martin. Your last name could be Martin. Your last name could be Davis. So it's both 2.
That's true.
It's both 2. I don't know.
I just started thinking about pitching, and then you started getting into that, and I wasn't paying attention. So
we got to prioritize stuff, Tim. That's the most important thing on this slate.
I know.
So, yeah, this slate is absolutely bonkers. It's loaded with good pitching. How much do you care on a scale of 1 to 10 that Jacob deGrom was not the nuts last time out? The Oakland Athletics actually got to him. Scale of 1 to 10. Do we care at all? We don't care, right?
Nope. Do not care at all. I'm a little bit, in a little bit of a disagreement with the bat that somehow, Corbin Burns has a higher ceiling than Jacob deGrom. Like, I don't know. I don't know about that. So it's just, I know that the matchup's a lot better, but, Burns hasn't been this, like, super, super high strikeout guy. Like, yeah he's truly elite, yes, and I will be playing him on DK, but, it's not like he's, I just think deGrom is way better. So I'm just surprised that those 2 aren't flip-flopped in projections.
I'm taking a peek now. You're talking about that's Carty's the bat. Of course, Carty will be on later to defend himself. The matchup is better, right, for Burns. And I think the most important thing, we're kind of burying the lead this time of year, 5 games left, whatever it is. And Milwaukee, no team in baseball is more motivated than Milwaukee. You're going to get a full leash out of Corbin Burns. You're going to get a fully terrible Marlins lineup. You can argue the Mets versus the Braves. These 2 teams are battling for the NL East. They want to win that number 1 seed. They want to get that bye in the first round. So deGrom and Fried are both going to be fully unleashed, fully available. And then some of the other names we'll talk about, the security is not as secure, right? Kershaw kind of babied down the stretch. Dodgers need him for October, yada, yada. Darvish should be, get a fair bit. Like, his leash isn't terribly concerning. I'm pulling up what Carty has as far as his pitches. 108 for Burns. That's a big boy number for sure. I guess the Marlins are going to let Sandy Alcantara go. They just let him go, and that's that. I still wouldn't be shocked if they sit him on Wednesday, but we'll see. Stay tuned. Who cares about Wednesday? It's DFS. We care about today only. Max Fried, we're expecting a ton of pitches. 101. Of course, he's always the classic better in real life as opposed to DFS, but he can throw 7-ish innings and good run prevention. Is that a 6 total in that game or 6.5? The Mets and the Braves. What do we have here? 6.5.
6.5, right?
Yeah, 6.5. By the way, the Mets called up the number 1 prospect in all of baseball, Francisco Alvarez, the catcher. They are not having him catch, which I was thinking for a second. They're not going to do that. They're not going to start him in this game against, with deGrom as his pairing. Thomas Nido is catching, but I just thought it was interesting that Francisco Alvarez, biggest prospect in baseball right now, according to re-rankings, depending on where you look, top 5, whatever. I saw him number 1 a couple places. I don't necessarily love the matchup, but when you're looking the flat out punt catcher, I know we're not on catchers, whatever. Just wanted to get it out there. Francisco Alvarez, 2K on DK. I don't want to pick on Max Fried, ground ball pitcher, good pitcher, doesn't give home runs, but I'll take somebody with some actual ability for 2K and just take my chances if you need that flat out punt at a position like catcher that's, historically kind of sketch. Let's just sort of run down these pitchers. And so the reason why, the Burns deGrom combination on DK, it's weird to say it's obvious on a slate with all these good pitchers, but when you add the context of matchup, price, talent, and the most important one is leash, right? How much does the team need Burns? A lot there in Milwaukee. They're trying to chase down Philadelphia, and the Mets really need deGrom to step up today and just drop in 6 or 7 of his we know he's got this ridiculous ceiling. His K rate is 42%. I could pull up the precise numbers. 41.9, ridiculous. 3.7% walks, absurd. His Sierra is 168. It's just so goofy. It's so good. I know it's only 58 innings, but it's spectacular.
And look at those Ks in that Braves lineup. it's a bunch of red when you go through that K percentage on Atlanta tonight. So I mean, I think that he's got a higher ceiling than Burns. I know the Marlins are terrible, but I'm just surprised that he's not the number one raw point guy in projections. But yeah,
what's the difference? Is it like a fraction? We got this is Carty at 27-ish for Burns and 25-ish for DeGrom. Okay.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant. Yeah, I know people might think that 2 points or 2.7 points doesn't sound like a lot, but in projections, that's quite a significant difference.
Frederick's asking what the FanDuel ownership on Alvarez is. I don't know what it is right this second, but it's going to be like nothing. Like nobody's playing him. He's like 2K over there as well. It's not as useful on FanDuel. It's useful. It's fine, I guess, but it's if you like him, just play him. It's going to be like 3% or something. Maybe.
And I'll tell you on FanDuel, we'll get to it, I'm sure, but on FanDuel, there's actually a ton of cheap catchers you can play. Like it's actually
Gary Sanchez.
Yeah, but there's also a couple other ones. I don't have it pulled up right this second, but yeah, I mean he's a way more valuable punt, like you said on DraftKings.
Yeah, it's just so much more useful. Also, the other prospect for the Angels, they call up their prospect the number one prospect in the organization, not number one in all baseball. He's 2-1 on DK. I don't know why I have cheap catchers on my mind. My shell lineup that I made on DK earlier, I wasn't aware of Alvarez existing because I didn't think he was playing tonight. I had no idea the Mets are calling him up. Is the guy that's 2-1 for the Angels. You never really know who's playing for them, but is it O'Hop? I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, but I do not know how to pronounce it.
Logan O'Hop?
We'll call him O'Hop. Let's call him O'Hop.
O''Hoppe. And this is where somebody in chat gets like, you have no credibility. How do you not know how to pronounce it? I'm more prospect in all of baseball. No, on the Angels specifically. I just don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not sure. I should know. I should have figured it out, I suppose. But O''Hoppe. We're going O'Hope or O'Hop? O'Hop.
O'Hop.
There you go. They're talking in chat about different ownership stuff, and you're going to see some really good pitchers that are just not going to be owned, and that's just the way it is. That's just how it's going to go. Like we mentioned Sandy Alcantara. Let me see what we have. You said 1% on FanDuel. Is that his projected ownership?
On the bat, it's 2.29.
That's insane. And according to let's see, this is so the bat and the MLB Plate IQ projections are a little bit different. They're close. 3%. Either way, like if you like him, just play him. Hoppy. Maybe it's Hoppy in chat. That could be it too. Number one ownership play on FanDuel, and it's pretty clear, like as far as the top two, it's going to be Burns and DeGrom. You're saving $1,300 if you step down to Burns. Obviously, FanDuel's got to run 22% for DeGrom, 24% for Burns. You tend to run one main lineup, but you're running one main lineup on FanDuel?
I am, yep.
Is it Burns or it's DeGrom? Is it? You're stepping up for DeGrom?
Yes. Yep. There's so many cheap bats on FanDuel. Like the issue I have is you can play 4 Dodgers today and play DeGrom. Like what am I even doing here? You know, like I understand that Burns is a good play, but I think DeGrom's a better pitcher. And I know that I can get to 4 Dodgers over on FanDuel. So I'm going to play, essentially what I believe is the best raw points, stack on the board and the best raw point pitcher on the board. And I'll take my chances.
Is everybody doing the same thing? Because I just pulled up my shell lineup, not to cut you off, but I pulled up my shell lineup and I actually made Burns, but whatever. Like I can shuffle it around. And it's 4 Dodgers. And now I don't have Betts, I don't have Freeman, and I don't have Turner. Like you're not gonna have that combination. But Muncie's 2-9, Lux is 2-1. No official lineup just yet, but you got to imagine those guys crack it. Thompson, I know yesterday was scratched due to a personal, but he probably doesn't play today. Gallo is super cheap as well if you're shooting for a homer. I just feel like that's the quote-unquote obvious way to build because it's not just those are the 2 obvious pitchers amongst all these great pitchers, but the Dodgers are the clear best team on the board at 5.5 as far as their team total. Nobody else even at 5, and they're also super cheap.
Yeah, you're right, though. It is the obvious way to build, but I think that there's going to be some cases tonight. Well, I think that one thing I'll say to that is that I think DeGrom's a better play than Burns. So when people start off their lineup with Burns, I immediately feel like I'm going to have at least a little bit of an edge. Now, it's just there are different ways that you can stack the Dodgers, and I don't think that, it's just like you could easily get. I think you could play Trey Turner, and play DeGrom, you know. But yeah, you're right. That is a chalky way to build. I just think that it's also the best way to build.
If you play Turner and DeGrom, you got just short of 2.8 per bat. Yeah, that's not hard.
Yeah, it's easy. It's
not hard. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just there's just so many good ways to stack the Dodgers tonight, and we don't know. I mean, maybe somebody like Betts or Freeman sits. Maybe we would get even more value. I don't know. I mean, I
think one sits. I would
exactly. Like, so we're probably going to get even more value. I really do. I do like the Padres quite a bit. I'm not saying that they're a bad play at all. I'm not saying that there's not other good ways, but that I'm just telling you that's the reason why I'm so high on DeGrom. That's why I'm absolutely gonna just pay the extra $1,300 on FanDuel, is because I can get to the Dodgers so easily.
Mark said he wouldn't touch the Dodgers, 2 at-bats, and they get pulled. Like, I wouldn't. We're not at that stage just yet. And if it happens, it's just like one guy. And if it happens, it's because the game's like 10-1 in the 4th inning or 5th inning. Like,
I'm not concerned about that.
I'm not freaking out about that just yet. Like, you might get that for one guy. And we're also not dealing with, it's not a 40-man roster. They don't have like 20 dudes on the bench waiting to play. We're still, they extend the rosters this time of year, but I think it's 30. Is that right? They limit it. It's not what it used to be, is basically what I'm saying.
Right. Yes.
Like it certainly could happen to a guy. And I think it's more likely to happen on Tuesday or on Wednesday, maybe on Monday. And also, like, they're not going to pull Lux. Like, Gavin Lux is going to play, right? Like, the guys, maybe a guy like Betts or Freeman or Turner gets pulled, but like Lux isn't going to.
They're not going to pull Lux. They're not going to pull. They're not. I just don't see that happening. And like you said, if they do, it's going to be 10-1 in the 5th, and your guys have already done stuff. So it's like whatever. That's fine.
In the chat, we have Shannon asking why is Kershaw getting no love? Pitch count. I mean, it's like
it's this slate. I love Kershaw, but 9,600 on DK and 10-7 on FanDuel. There's so many guys around him that are just so much better plays, and he is the one guy that I'm most concerned about his leash, his pitch count. Whereas Darvish, DeGrom, Burns, Alcantara I would assume are all going to pitch over 100 pitches today. And I, highly doubt that Kershaw will get to 100. I'm assuming he'll be 85, 90 pitches.
Yeah, it matters. Like, those 10 to 15 pitches matter.
Yeah, and also, I mean, we're talking about really, really elite guys tonight. We're talking about, like, some really, really talented pitchers. There are some slates where I would say hunt for that, go for that 85, 90 pitches with Kershaw. Tonight's not one of those nights.
Your boy, Broccoli Boy, is trolling you in chat. You see this?
What?
He's giving you the business. He says, whenever you come up north for your big birthday party, bring him a comb. I got to bring you a comb. Who uses a comb in these days? Are combs still for sale? I can't remember the last time I used a comb.
I wouldn't know, Dean. I don't use one. So.
He says, this is his words, not mine. Don't get mad at me. I'm just speaking on behalf of the chat. I'm just a vessel. Let's get Tides, get that scraggly mop under control. Again, that's Broccoli Boy. That's not me. I would never say that.
I mean, you don't know Broccoli Boy. You don't know Broccoli Boy, but he combs his hair for 3 hours a day, and I'm not even kidding.
James
he's
Dean?
He's one of these man bun guys.
Oh no. He's a man bun guy? Oh, man.
Yes.
You're always saying something to the world when you come out with a man bun. I don't know what you're saying, but you're saying something.
Yeah.
It's a bold statement. Maybe I'm just jealous I can't grow a nice man bun. I don't know. Brian wants to know thoughts on getting either Burns or DeGrom sub 10% on DK. Is that what? No, that's not happening.
No, that's not happening.
Wait, that can't. Is that what our projections are? That can't be right.
No.
If that's what it is, it's going to change. There's no way. Yeah. I'm giving a refresh right now.
They'll be 25-35 kind of deal.
So we have it even higher on the Plate IQ projections. And it says, wait, did I read that incorrect? Oh, I see what you're saying. You know what, Brian? I butchered your question. I apologize. I'll get to your question in a second, but I should mention the ownership stuff. 37% as far as Burns, 35% as far as DeGrom. Then Logan Gilbert, meaningful difference, down to 8.4K. Nice matchup against Oakland at 21%. Darvish at 16. Flaherty. The Flaherty one, man, that's the one that kind of stinks. I don't know what to do with Flaherty. I don't think I'm playing him in my main lineups. I'm curious to get your thoughts on that. Kershaw at 15. Framber Valdez, awesome pitcher, super safe in air quotes. His quality start streak was just insane. He's just expensive, and he's not this elite strikeout guy. But his question was, and by the way, Alek Manoah, Alcantara at 5 or 6%, Fried at 4%. Brady Singer's a good pitcher, 4%. Merrill Kelly's good, 3%. Just people just aren't playing these guys. His question here is the idea of playing either Burns or DeGrom with one of these 10% owned guys, maybe a Alcantara or a Fried or a Singer. What do you think of that as far as a strategy of making lineups tonight?
I like it if you do Alcantara.
Yeah.
I like it if you do Darvish, even though Darvish is getting a little bit more owns than I thought he would. But those two are the guys that I think have the ceiling to potentially match Burns and DeGrom. So those would be the only two. I wouldn't do Valdez. I wouldn't do Fried. This is a tough matchup for Fried. Like, this isn't like, I know he's a good real life pitcher. I just question the upside.
This is an interesting bet. I have not looked at this, but on the fly, I can throw it to you. You have access to a sports book, right? I believe you do.
I do not.
No, you don't. Okay, my bad.
I can do underdog.
Okay, yeah. But just as a thought process, Shannon's talking in FanDuel. There's a FanDuel boost, right? At the sports book over there, plus 270. So you're getting almost 3-1. You're getting DeGrom, Fried, and Burns to throw 25 plus strikeouts. What do you think? Is that possible? Plus 270? You get 8 or 9 out of DeGrom. You get 8 or 9 out of Burns. I don't hate it at plus 270. I don't mind that.
I don't hate it, but I don't think I'd do it.
It's unlikely, but it's plus 270.
Just because I just don't think this is that good of a strikeout matchup for Fried.
But if he throws 7 innings, they'll just compile him while he's out there. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying my money. I don't do. I'm just gonna look at the bat projections real quick to see what they would say.
It's about 20. Hold on, my UCF math is kicking in.
About 22.
Yeah, but it's not an even proposition. It's plus 270.
No, I know. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's close. It's not a horrible bet. It's not horrible.
I don't hate it. Like, again, you're betting it expecting to lose, but at plus 270, I think it's all right. And by the way, like, DeGrom could just strike out 12. Like, that's possible too.
That was actually the next thing I was going to say is that I really like DeGrom's ceiling for K's in this matchup. So that could be the counter to my Fried take.
Cloud is saying nothing on Ryan. I mean, Ryan's there too, and he's facing Detroit. Joe Ryan at 6% as far as ownership. Dave Potts wrote in his article, Cheese wrote in his article, basically, he said, and this was like the early slate, I suppose. So yesterday it was like it was 4 games early, 4 games late, and he's like, maybe 7 to 11 of these guys that we're talking about today could have been the number 1 pitcher yesterday. Like, that's just true.
Right.
Like, how many of these guys would have been, I guess probably the early slate because, Ohtani and Rodon were at the back end. But the early slate was gross. Like, I did a show at Blender, and it was miserable talking about, I guess I blocked it out. Who was throwing baseballs yesterday? Giolito, I think, was the best pitcher.
Erod.
Okay, yeah. Erod was fine. I tried to troll Blender yesterday for fun. I made
I don't believe that. You tried to troll Blender.
Yeah, I mean, I made a 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1 lineup. It was 4 games. So, I picked 1 player from each team, and I'm like, I'm going to try to win something with this. It didn't, unfortunately. Small sample size is what I chalk it up to. And I was rostering, of course, 2 hitters against 2 of my pitchers as well, which I'm told the book says that's frowned upon. But, yeah, it didn't win. That's all right.
Whoever mentioned Joe Ryan, I'm completely fine with that. Honestly, it's Burns and DeGrom, and then Alcantara and Darvish, and then it's Gilbert and Ryan, and I think that's it. That would be my pool. If I'm making 150 teams, those are my pitchers. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's worth saying. Like, if we don't say the pitcher you like, we probably like them too. It's just you can't say everybody, I suppose, right?
Well, the thing is, I don't really like Kershaw. I don't really like Manoah. I don't really like Valdez. Sure, those guys could get there, but I'm just saying what I would do is that I'm not really bullish on those guys at all. So they're not of interest to me.
I want an official Jack Flaherty take because he's the guy, uber talented, had a history of injuries. He's come back. The velocity's been down. He's not been spectacular. That's probably a nice way of saying how his year has gone for him. It's not been good, right? But once upon a time, he was awesome. Now he's got a nice matchup theoretically here against Pittsburgh. He's coming off easily his best start of the season against San Diego, where he racked up 9 strikeouts, which might be an outlier, depending on how you look at that. But he's looked good, at least in the box score. He's going to grab some ownership. He's like I don't want to say the logical step down SP2 if you're not going full double aces. I don't think I'm going there. I might make one of my teams with them, but I don't begrudgingly. I'm holding my nose. I just don't trust it. I still don't trust it. What's your official Flaherty take?
So I know that you're talking about DK, but I just wanted to touch on FanDuel real quick with him. I really want to play him on FanDuel.
Okay.
I think that there's so much value on FanDuel, even if you don't play the Dodgers, that you don't need to take that risk. So that's just my assessment. If you want to pitch Flaherty as your SP2 on DK, he is projected to be 16% owned, and he's going to be in the optimal about 15% of the time. So that's okay. I wouldn't get too overweight on the field, and I'm really not crazy about pitching him in like a single entry or 3 max contest. But if you want to do it in large field, I'm fine with it.
I feel like I'm curious. Is he popping up in optimals? I feel like he might be, just because of the salary.
He probably is. He probably is. I'm not sure, but I don't know. There's just I feel like there's a massive opportunity cost at pitching today, and I just don't want to goof around. Even if he's okay, I don't know if I want to goof around with him tonight.
Yeah, I'm hopeful to see 15, 20, 25%. People rostering him, and I guess he could be fine. Of course, he could be fine, but I'd rather face that than double barrel aces. I did cap. Okay, I ran 55 lineups on DK, and I don't know why I cap pitchers at 55%. I should extend that more, but both Burns and DeGrom hit the 55 ceiling, and then the next pitcher up is Jack Flaherty at 44%. I wonder if I extend that, how much more that would change, but. Yeah, again, I just don't think I'm going to get there. I understand why people are playing him. I'm going to have less in the field. I'll just go ahead and say that. Mark's asking in chat for Darvish's ceiling. What do you think Darvish's ceiling is? It's fine. Fine.
I mean, he's projected for 105 pitches. It's good. I think it's solid ceiling. I think he's one of the guys that could potentially match Burns. He could match DeGrom.
According to Carty's the bats, and again, support Carty. Carty will be on later. He'll be here to defend such takes. But yeah, he's got Darvish at number 3 when it comes to the projected ceiling.
Yeah, and that's what I would have if I was just looking at this slate blindly. Is that I would the only difference I'd have is DeGrom 1, Burns 2, Darvish 3.
Where's Sandy? 4?
4, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I'd have him. I'd have Sandy ranked better than Gilbert, Flaherty, and Kershaw for sure.
He's got Gilbert slightly ahead of Sandy Alcantara, which is, again, I don't agree with that.
But look at DK. He's got Logan.
That's what I'm looking at.
Okay, but yeah. So then on FanDuel, he's got Gilbert rated better than Alcantara.
We'll be talking about the hitters in a second. I see some questions as far as hitters. And Mark saying in chat, pitching is pretty straightforward. I mean, it is and it isn't. Like, there's different ways to get it right. You just can't screw it up. Like, if DeGrom doesn't have a ridiculous game, then Burns will. If Burns doesn't have a ridiculous game, then Gilbert will. Gilbert doesn't, Darvish will. There's some of these guys, some combination of all these good Armstrong baseballs are just going to crush today.
I will say that there's a lot of easy cross-offs today. That's what I will say that.
Give me the easy cross-offs.
Well, let's just go right down to the bottom. Davis Martin, Chad Kuhl.
He's got 2 first names and 2 last names. You're just crossing all those names off?
Right. Tyler Alexander, Nick Pivetta, Herman, Rasmussen.
Who's kind of a good pitcher, by the way. I understand. I'm probably crossing him off too, but he's not a bad pitcher.
I would cross off Reed, and he's an excellent real-life pitcher, but I'd cross him off tonight.
You're making 150. He doesn't crack the 150?
No.
I mean, you're making 3. I get it. You're making 5. I get it. 150. I might get a pinch. He's good.
He is good.
Are
you gonna be under or over 7.64% on DK with Freed?
I'm not making. If I was making 150, I'd probably be right on that number. Yeah.
You'd be right on the. Yeah,
I think I'd be around that number. Again,
I'd be drastically underweight.
Okay, fair enough. He's not cheap, but he's a compiler though. He can go 7 innings, and this game could be 1-0 in the bottom of the 7th. And the atmosphere in that game, somebody in chat was talking about it. Yeah, it's going to feel like a playoff game. That's going to be a fun one to watch. If you're actually watching some baseball tonight, that'll be a good game to watch. The Atlanta, I presume it's going to be a sellout. Mets, obviously a national team as well. DeGrom versus Fried, meaningful game. I believe are the Mets ahead by a game or so.
Yeah, I think it's 1.5 or a half or.
Let's see. I'm just seeing what else the chat is kind of talking about as far as pitchers. Somebody wanted the Yahoo. If producer Steve would if he's feeling generous, if he's feeling kind. I know he's showing off the Lineup HQ tool on the screen right now. You, of course, can get access to the fabulous Lineup HQ tool if you get yourself some RotoGrinders Premium. If you can click on over to Yahoo. I'm not playing on Yahoo tonight. I don't think you are either, Tim. Are you playing Yahoo tonight?
No, but I can pull some stuff up.
Yeah, if you just take a peek real quick, I'm seeing if anything kind of stands out. I mean, DeGrom is meaningfully more expensive than everybody else. That's the first thing I noticed. He's $62, and then Burns is $49. Alcantara $49. $50 for Darvish. Yeah. Just trying to see if anybody kind of stands out as far as the price, a little bit different over there.
I don't see anything that's glaringly different than what we've talked about before. It seems like Burns is considered the best point per dollar play. Now I'd have to analyze the bats more to determine, if that $13 difference between DeGrom and Burns is super meaningful, or if you have to drop down to somebody else. But
good question.
I'm not seeing any. I still think Kershaw is too expensive. I wouldn't pay $51 for Kershaw.
I wouldn't either. And like you said, a lot of times Yahoo has really good players for $7, like the floor, because it's based upon how well you've done lately. $16 for Soto is really cheap. Stanton's $10, really cheap. Devers is $14. That's really cheap. So you probably can go. You know what? You can. Our first optimizer, I just kind of clicked on it. You can get Burns and DeGrom as well as Devers. Trey Turner's $15. Gallo's the floor. Soto's $16. Salary doesn't matter, man. For optimal lineups over there, or for cash lineups.
Yeah. So it's
easy.
It's easy. It's you go to Grom and you go Burns. They're just both such talented pitchers, and I just don't see why you need to goof around with any other combination. So it's just. I know that it's kind of chalky and it's not as fun and it's not as creative, but
yeah,
their ceilings are so good and their floors are so good.
You were talking about Burns' K rate being down, of late. How concerned are you about that? And it's the Marlins. The Marlins are terrible, obviously. Do we have a lineup just yet? It's going to be bad, whatever it is. I don't think the lineup came out. Maybe I missed it. Do we officially have a Marlins lineup?
I'll look. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, projected.
I'm not concerned long term. I'm not concerned that he's going to have a bad outing tonight. It's just, I don't think he's the caliber of pitchers DeGrom, and that's why I'm pitching DeGrom on FanDuel. But on DK, I'm paying up for both of them because I don't really want to play Joe Ryan or Logan Gilbert, Jack Flaherty, Max Fried. If I'm, so it's just, I have no concerns about Burns' recent issues in terms of strikeouts.
Let's see. DK has Arias starting at shortstop for Cleveland. RG's got Freeman. Yeah, we got Tyler Freeman batting second. Arias is batting seventh. They're both playing, from what I can tell, Greg. Let me go ahead and drop the lineups page in chat if you guys don't.
I did notice. I don't know what's going on with that lineup. I did notice that there was like something was wrong. Like some site had it different than we had it different. He's talking about Cleveland, right?
Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I saw this earlier. I think what we have in our starting lineups page right now is correct.
Quan, Freeman, Ramirez, Naylor, Gonzalez, Jimenez, Arias, Brennan, and Molly.
Yeah.
We just got the Padres and the White Sox. Padres, Profar, Soto, Machado, Cronenworth, Drury, Bell, Kim, Nola, and Grisham. And the White Sox, Elvis is batting leadoff. Peyton, Abreu, Jimenez, so Eloy's back. Sheets, Moncada, Vaughn, Perez is catching, and Harrison. Waiting on the Dodgers. Dodgers is an important one. Waiting on the Marlins. Not as important. Who else are we waiting on as far as lineups? Oakland, it's going to be bad. Angels, I presume, we're getting Trout and Ohtani. You see Ohtani sleeps 9 hours a day. It's his favorite hobby. I saw it on Twitter today.
I didn't see that.
Hey, he deserves his rest, man. He works hard, man. He's always, he's pitching, he's throwing, he's hitting baseballs. Let him get his sleep. He was very close last night to get that no-hitter. No lineup just yet for Texas and the Angels. Dodgers is a big one. And no Giants lineup if you want to pick on Merrill Kelly, who's, Merrill Kelly's good. He's in a good ballpark. And get this, Tim, another pitcher nobody's going to play, Merrill Kelly.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I think that's the right thing to do, is not to play any of him.
Aaron in chat is saying, didn't DeGrom just struggle with Oakland? He did. Why are we acting like this guy is untouchable? Well, I mean, despite we can add that in there, and he still has a 2.93 ERA, whatever. But his Sierra is distinctly better at 1.68. 2.93 ERA is really good too, for what it's worth. The K rate's at 42%. Is that? I mean, nobody's impervious to a bad start, and the Athletics, got to him, and good for them. But everybody can get dinged to a certain degree, but the least dingable is DeGrom.
Jacob DeGrom is the best pitcher in baseball, and I personally I don't think it's very close. So
yeah,
but no pitcher is untouchable. Those things will happen. I can't guarantee you that he's gonna go 7 2/3 innings with 11 strikeouts and no runs tonight. I can't guarantee that. So it's just one of those things that happens in baseball, and that just whatever I try to encourage people to go right back to the best plays, and that best plays are Jacob DeGrom.
Did he have a walk problem in that game too? Was it like 4 walks or something like that? I feel like it was. Yeah, it was. Which he had 4 walks in that game, and I think that's more than he has the entire season. Am I wrong in saying that?
What did that bring up his walk rate to? Like 3.5% on the year?
His walk rate on the season is 3.7%. Yeah. But before that, it was like 1.5 or something goofy. It's ridiculous.
Right.
Like you say, he's the best pitcher in baseball. Like the distance from him to 2 is massive. It's so silly.
Right. I don't think it's that close between 1 and 2. So, and I think guys who really pay attention to metrics like Carty would agree with me that that's DeGrom and it's not particularly close. So it's I don't care what he did against the A's.
Yeah. And I deemed him the Joey Chestnut of throwing baseballs, Just he's in his own tier, and that's that.
Right. I had to think about who that was, Dean. I was like, who the hell is he talking about?
Are you not a big hot dog eating guy?
No, well, actually, I do love hot dogs, but I'm not. I forgot that's a thing. I don't watch the eating. I don't watch the eating contest.
He even like somebody attacked him like mid eating. I don't know if it was this last.
Yeah, I saw that clip. Yeah,
he's incredible. Nothing stops this guy. He's an absolute force. Right. They attacked. Right. They bum rushed the stage in mid hot dog. There was no reversal of fortune. He kept his composure, and choked this guy out or something, and kept moving on. It's pretty impressive. Yeah. He needs a Kobayashi though, right? He needs another. I don't know if there's another one that's creeping up on him. I don't even know. I don't think so. I think he's still clearly in his own tier. He needs his own competitor to make it more interesting. He's just competing against himself basically at this point. We got anything else as far as pictures?
Yeah. No, I think we're good.
Yeah. Is DeGrom really that much better than Max? Yes, he is that much. Max is great. Yes. Love Max Scherzer, and I don't want to tell him to his face he's not the greatest pitcher. Because he might lose it. Max will give me that stare of death. He'll give me the stink eye. But yeah, DeGrom is that much better than Max Scherzer. He just is. That's it. Give me the summary as far as pitchers. I just tuned into the show. Give me like the how I should handle pitching today.
I would pitch DeGrom in all formats on both sites. Projection systems like Derek Carty's might suggest that you play Burns first on FanDuel. I disagree only because there's so much easy hitting value on FanDuel that I'd rather pay out for the more superior pitcher. But Burns is obviously in an amazing spot. On DraftKings, it's pretty easy. I'm going to be playing DeGrom and Burns. If you don't want to eat up that much salary with pitching, you can go to Logan Gilbert. You can go to Joe Ryan. Projection systems would probably say to go to Jack Flaherty. I'm not as bullish on that take, but it's not horrible given the matchup. I think that stayaways on the high end in terms of pitching for me on both sites, it's Clayton Kershaw. It is Framber Valdez. For tournaments on the high end, I really like Yu Darvish, and I also like Sandy Alcantara.
I don't know if you were watching the show last week, but we had Joey who's in Australia. What's up, Joey? It's like 7 a.m. over there. I didn't stoop. I almost said good eye, and I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go for that low-hanging fruit. There's like on one of their DFS sites, they have like this rolling progressive jackpot, and apparently somebody won it yesterday for $80,000. So congratulations, third largest payout for the site. DFS is growing around the world. I bet it's popular for basketball too. Australia likes their basketball. Tell us, Joey, is it bigger contest over there as far as basketball? It feels like a more international game. Well, baseball, depending on where you're in the world, I suppose. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about tonight's stacks. Do you like any stack tonight? I know we like the Dodgers, right? But that's it, sort of.
We like the Dodgers. We like the Padres. It's kind of ugly. There's value with Minnesota today on both sites.
Yeah.
I think Toronto, I'm not sure. I don't think they're going to be as high owned as they should be. If they're expensive, but there's a couple cheap pieces, at least on FanDuel. Like, I think that it's possible to do like a 4-4 Toronto Dodgers with DeGrom. Like, if you can do that, I'd love to do that. Because Pavetta's just been bad, and it seems like he's getting worse, and he's prone to giving up home runs. So I really like attacking Pavetta today if you can. It seems like the Angels are getting like ownership when they shouldn't be. It seems like to me, like it's really just
a couple guys.
It's just a couple guys, and then Rengifo on FanDuel. Other than that, I really don't have any interest.
I don't mind the hop. Hop there. Logan O'Hop with 2.1K if he cracks the lineup.
But more importantly, like for someone like me who's using all their salary on pitching, it's really about finding value stacks. Like I can't get up to the super, super expensive guys. So I have to find that, especially on DK, I have to find that in guys teams like the Royals, like the Twins. There are pieces of the Cardinals that I'm a little bit interested in, and the Rangers. Those are like the 4 teams to me on DK that have the appropriate amount of salary savers that I can use to play both DeGrom and Burns.
You say the Cardinals?
Yeah, not like a full stack, but I think that there's some cheap pieces that you can use.
I'm trying to see who's usable when it comes to salary. Like, obviously, you like Goldie and Arenado, but you're not going to spend 5.9 and 5.4, and you're going double barrel as far as your pitchers. Are you talking about like the Newt Bar?
Yeah, like Lars Newt Bar. I'm trying to find.
Donovan Breedenoff, he's pretty cheap. Pujols is still they're rolling him out there to get more homers.
Yeah,
Yepes got some power. He's cheap.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I wouldn't full stack them, but if you need a couple salary saving pieces when you rounding out the rest of your team, I have no issue getting to the Cardinals.
I'm just looking for salary savers. I don't really want to pick on Alek Manoah, but Boston called up Duran. They threw him in the 1 spot. He's got some, he's a big prospect there. He's been bad, right? They sent him back down for a reason. And why wouldn't you get this guy as many at bats as possible? He just was struggling, but he's 2K. Baду leading off for Detroit. He's he's shown some power. He's shown some speed. And, I don't want to actively pick on Joe Ryan, but I'm okay with that. It's basically a flat out punt as well. Just trying to find ways to save salary and make stuff work. Do you like those as salary savers? Do you have anybody specific? I talk about the catchers I liked as well to save some salary, but is there anybody else that's kind of standing out for you as, just to make stuff work, guys?
I mean, I really like the Twins today. So like guys like Jake Cave, guys like Miranda on FanDuel. He's super cheap. He's 3,500 on DK. I don't have anybody who's like flat 2K other than those 2 guys you mentioned.
Yeah,
but there's certainly plenty of guys on DraftKings that are like in that 25 to 3K region that are fine today.
Somebody was just asking about, Stan was asking about Seattle. How do you feel about the Seattle stacks? Obviously not as appealing, the absence of J-Rod. I think Moore is leading off today for Seattle for what it's worth here against one of the weaker arms on the slate. I think it's fair to say Moore, France, Ayono Suarez, historically has smashed lefties. Haniger, nice to see him bang on a couple homers last night. This year he's been very bad, but small sample, really, really small sample against lefties. Kelnick left on left. What do you think of this Seattle stack? It's pretty cheap. Santana's really cheap. Moore's cheap. Kelnick's cheap. If you want a cheap stack, Seattle maybe?
Yeah, they're also super cheap on FanDuel today. So I mean, you've got Dylan Moore at 2,300, and he's outfield shortstop on FanDuel, and he's second base outfield on DraftKings for 3,100. So I'm completely fine. Mitch Haniger's 2,900 on FanDuel. You got Carlos Santana, who's come back to life somehow. I didn't know. I never thought he'd be relevant again, but he is now. And like you said, Kelnick. So yeah, I think that they make for a completely fine tournament stack.
Who's got more home runs this year, Pujols or Carlos Santana?
Don't know.
I just checked. I was curious.
Are they super close?
It's close, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go with Pujols.
Pujols is 21. Santana's got 19.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
You want to go around the horn and give our fair plays, position by position. Anyways, whatever you don't hear, you want us to talk about a player, by all means, throw them out there in the chat. Do appreciate you guys grinding these last 5 days of MLB DFS. Basketball right around the corner. NFL, we're already in we're at the quarter bowl basically, the NFL season, week 4 on layaway. But drop those questions in chat, whatever's pertinent to the conversation. I'll do my best to pick up on it. Kindly hit that like button, do subscribe, do turn on those notifications. Also 25 minutes, give or take. You got Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth, and do we have an update on that game? Is it still just straight orange? Is Washington not even mentioning the fact that it's going to be pouring like nonstop? Oh, it's orange yellow now, so it's not as bad.
All right.
Well, I was hoping this let it go away, but that's interesting.
Well, I just want to tell the people that they didn't hear me at the beginning that I don't mind the Nationals today. So I want to throw that out into the universe.
Would you just stack this game? Like if it's dicey weather-wise, would you just do like a full stack and play like 4-4 or 5-3? And just like you're all in or all out. If it gets rained out, whatever. You're shooting to the top. Like you don't want 3 pieces in this game, obviously.
No, but I mean, I think it's a pretty good spot for CJ Abrams. So
he's cheap.
Yeah. So I mean, I hope that it's a big enough downgrade that I can play this game in a single entry. Because, like, I only play one team per site, so I can't goof around with weather as much as, people that make, like, 10 teams or whatever.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The first line Ross says, by the way, I don't want to read it to you guys. I dropped it in chat. It's not quite rain. You can't play through, but it's close. I think the fact that the rest of the weekend looks equally ugly. Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Makes them more likely to try to do so whatever they can to play ball. Yeah, and, like, the rules at Washington are the rules – like, I know that ballpark historically is goofy as far as, canceling games, but once the official start time passes, I believe it's held. Now it's over to the umpire. It's their discretion as far as if the game goes or doesn't go, or it's canceled. I think that's how it works. But if the ballpark wants to cancel it, the Nationals, the home team, they have to do so before the official start time. Does that sound correct to you?
I believe that is correct. Yes.
Yeah. All right. If I'm making it up, let me know. I don't think I am, though.
No, if I thought you were straight up making it up, I would say something. But
we don't have a Dodgers lineup just yet. Cloud's asking Taylor or Lux for tournaments. I assume those will both be in the lineup. Lux especially for the Dodgers. Give it a refresh, see if we have a Dodger lineup. We do not. We got the Marlins. It's bad. Birdie, Wendell, De La Cruz, Garcia, Sanchez, Blade, Rojas, Stallings, and Diaz. A's lineup came out as well. That will be Kemp, Machine, Diaz, Brown, Garcia, Capel, Langoliers, Bride, and Allen. That's bad too. Angels. Oh, we got the Hop. The Hop's in there. Batting sixth. Rengifo leading off. Trout, Otani. There you go. The rest, who cares? But yeah.
So the Dodgers lineup just came out.
What do you got?
Betts, Turner, Freeman, Smith, Muncy, Thompson, Lux, Taylor, Bellinger.
So no Gallo.
No Gallo.
Okay, so no Gallo. Lux in there as assumed. Yeah, Thompson had a personal issue. They said it was going to be a one day thing. That's how it turned out. No Justin Turner. Bellinger batting ninth. All right, so Betts, Trey Turner, Will Smith batting cleanup, Freeman batting third. I don't know why I'm jumping back and forth. Muncy fifth, Thompson, Lux, Taylor. And Thompson's a guy that, like, I think is just in the game, and that's that. Right?
Yes.
I feel pretty good about him.
Yes.
Okay.
I still think you can get to guys like Turner, Smith, Muncy, Thompson, Lux, Taylor. Like, you might not be able to get to Betts and Freeman on FanDuel, but the rest of the guys, you could do whatever you want, really, with those 7 guys.
You're going double barrel. I assume you're trying to find some salary savings on DK at catcher. Sure, it'd be great to play Will Smith, but I imagine you're not prioritizing that position. Is that where you're at as far as your main lineup?
Yeah, I can't. I can't get up to guys like Smith or Perez. It's going to be either Gary Sanchez, Ryan Jeffers, I think, is a really good tournament pivot because a lot of optimals today are going to spit out Sanchez, and I think Jeffers is going to be really forgotten. You could maybe get to like Danny Jansen if you wanted to, but I prefer going lower. And then I guess if you really need a stone cold punt, it's our Mets guy. What is it, Alvarez, right, Dean?
Yeah, dude. I mean, he's the number one prospect in all of baseball. You're going to want to learn his name.
So it's going to be Alvarez or O'Hop.
Yeah.
For 2,100.
I'm almost definitely playing one of those two. Like that's just where I'm at. And I don't. Yeah. I don't want to pick on Fried, obviously. Like why would I want to do that? But this is a talented batter in a good ballpark. And that's it.
Let me ask you this. If you didn't get so many zeros in your lifetime from Gary Sanchez, wouldn't you would you be more excited to attack Tyler Alexander?
So we talk about how good this slate is as far as pitchers. If we're going to put the family feud to like the bottom 5 pitchers, Tyler Alexander, show me Tyler Alexander. You're getting a ding. He's in the bottom 5 pitchers on the slate. So
right.
yeah, I'm fine picking on him. But yeah, But the thing was, Sanchez, like, he'll give you the homers. Like, when he actually hits the ball, he will homer. It happens on record.
You're like me. You're just so sick of the 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts and getting 0. I understand, Dean. I've been there.
Well, he's also not 2K. If he was 2K, I'd probably play him.
Right.
Again, yeah. It's just I don't know if I have 1,000.
No, I'm kind of making fun of myself too, because it's like Gary Sanchez is a way better hitter than both those kids are. But we're just kind of jaded, right? We get tired.
I don't know if he's a better hitter than both those guys. To be fair,
I think he is.
I don't think that's true. You're saying today and today only, and that's that. Like Francisco Alvarez is just 20 years old. I don't know if you know. He's like just youngest player. I think he's the youngest player in baseball. Pretty sure. Raw power, 70 raw power on Fangraphs on this season. I think in a couple different orders.
He's going against Max Fried. He's not going to get some.
Yes, I know. Like Fried's. Well, I was told Jacob deGrom can give up some runs. Like, have you seen the A's against deGrom?
Right, true. I don't know why we're not stacking the A's today.
Man, in 3 years or in 2 years, the talent for Alvarez theoretically is better than Sanchez, but it's hard to say. But one guy's on the up, one guy's on the down. Let's just say that. How about that?
All right, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, so I'm going to be playing some Alvarez, and who doesn't love a good first at bat in baseball narrative? And they don't call up 20-year-olds. Like, you got to be really good if you're getting you're 20 years old and you're playing in the majors. That's like what A-Rod. Ken Griffey was really young, I believe. Soto was like 19, right? Harper was like 19 or 20. You got to be really good.
I thought Soto was 18.
He was really young.
He was really young.
And for Seattle, Rodriguez, he's 21, 22 maybe right now. Right. You got to be young if you're playing in the majors at 20 years old. You got to be good, and and the Mets are going for it, right? Obviously, and I'm curious. I wonder if he'll be on their playoff roster. I don't know. Why not? It's not like I don't know if he would be catching though, because I don't know how well of a catcher, how well of a receiver he happens to be. And obviously, they don't put him back there. They're not putting him back there tonight, but will be interesting to see. We don't care how well he catches though. Other catchers that are worth talking about, or shall we talk about first base?
Paying up at catcher, all I'll say will be Contrarian today. So it'll naturally lead you to a different lineup construction. The way that I play, I can't do that. But if you're making multiple teams, any kind of pay up, I think, other than probably Will Smith, if you pay up for any other catcher on DK, you'll be Contrarian today.
What about first? First base on DK, you can play Ohtani. Freeman, of course, is well positioned, but he's going to cost you. You mentioned Toronto. Vlad's got a nice little discount on FanDuel. He's like 3.8 or 3.9 over there. Traditionally, he's in the 4s. It's a slight discount. So Vlad, you talk about Minnesota a couple times. I like Miranda. He's not like the prototypical leadoff hitter. I don't know. Does that even exist anymore, what a prototypical leadoff hitter is? But Minnesota's trying to find one. And against Alexander leading off, decent shot at 5 ABs. I like him a good bit too. Do you have any favorites as far as first?
Yeah, Jose Miranda is going to be the chalk. He's going to be the chalk for single entries. He's going to be the cash game guy. I really have no argument against that. It's just going to be an ownership thing with these Twins. I think that they are going to carry some. We still haven't gotten a Rangers lineup, I don't think, which is weird. Because I don't mind getting to like some Rangers, and I also don't mind getting to some Nate Lowe left on left, just because he's going to be really low owned, and I think the Rangers as a whole are in a good spot today. If you have the money, I would agree with you, Dean, that I actually like Vlad the most. Obviously, if you have the money, you can go to Freddie, you can go to Shohei. I don't think it's going to be tough to do that today, unless you really just want to do like a one-off of them and pay down at all the other spots. Vinny P is pretty cheap today. We haven't, we haven't talked about the Royals much today.
No.
But,
But he's
I know
3.5. He got a huge price bump.
yeah, but he's 25 on FanDuel.
Okay.
But you're right. Yeah, he's a lot more expensive on DK than he used to be. But I think the Royals are in a decent spot. It's just on DraftKings, their top hitters are super expensive. But I think some of those value guys are at least worth entertaining.
All right. Anything else at first, or shall we jump to second base, keystone position? Trying to see our rankings. Who we have at second. Second's been kind of meh. I saw somebody in chat talking about Gleyber Torres' history against Baltimore. Like that, there was that one season where he had like all of his home runs against Baltimore and probably made a bunch of money off him. And remember, Baltimore was horrendous, and like the left field wasn't moved back to the moon. He had a lot of homers there, but he's fine. Lux is second base eligible on DK. Taylor, I'm okay with Cronenworth. He's not cheap. I'm fine with Semien, assuming he makes that Texas lineup. But as a whole, second just kind of stinks, right?
Second's pretty bad. I think that Dylan Moore might actually be the guy on DraftKings.
Oh boy.
For cash games anyway. Like I said, I like the Rangers today quite a bit. I tried to, right before I got on the show, I tried to build a Ranger stack and it had Semien in it. So I think I'm going to try to get to some Rangers today, and Semien's definitely going to be on that list. We've talked about the Padres, how we both like the Padres quite a bit, and they're going to be lower owned than I think we currently have them projected for. So I really like Jake Cronenworth, and then obviously Gavin Lux is like your punt, especially on FanDuel at 2,100.
Yeah,
and Taylor is 3,400 on DraftKings, so he might be the better spend. Wait, he's in the lineup, right?
Yeah, he's batting 8th, I believe.
Yeah, so you could definitely go either one of those two guys.
Anything else of notes at second, or shall we let's move on? It's pretty.
Well, I just wanted to say I don't mind Brandon Donovan too.
You like him a part of a stack, or like as a one-off guy? He's not really an a la carte guy.
As a one-off, or as like from part of a skinny stack, maybe. I'm not super high on the Cardinals, and also like I know Merrill Kelly's good, but Wilmer Flores at 2,600. Those Giants are super cheap today. They're like free on FanDuel. So
he's one of the sleeper Giants too, for what it's worth.
Yes, exactly. So it's just they're going to go very, very low owned, and I'm not saying they're in a great spot, but they're pretty much free.
Cloud wants you to pick Lux or Taylor. I guess I lean Lux, but I
would if you really want to pick, it's Lux.
All right, yeah. But it's not like a clear and obvious.
Right, and it's not a lock. It's not a lock, but Lux is the better play.
Jump to third base. Who do you like as far as third today? I think you can flat out punt it with Young, assuming Young cracks that lineup. He's one of my salary savers right now. Machado, if you have all the money in the world, I don't know if I'm going to have it. You could always play Devers, obviously. I think Chapman is cheap in some spots. Chapman's at 2.5 on FanDuel. We talked about some of those Toronto pieces being more usable over there. Eugenio Suarez for Seattle against the lefty. But again, for me, I don't think it's a very strong position considering there's, 13, 14 games, depending on where you're shopping?
Yeah, and if I didn't mention Max Muncy at second base on FanDuel, I apologize. That he's probably the most obvious play on the slate for FanDuel. So that was my bad. Because I'm going to be playing Max Muncy today, so I apologize I did not mention him. And then, of course, you can play Jose Miranda at third base on FanDuel, too. So he's that's kind of a different way to build your lineup. DraftKings is a little bit trickier. I agree with you that it's Young probably for the Rangers or Donovan at the low end. I like the Suarez call. If I had the money, which I don't, but if I did, I would like to get to Max Muncy on DraftKings at 4,800. I think Muncy's a 5K player, so I think he's a little cheap today.
Chad Cool also on the board, right? Bottom 5 pitcher on the slate, I think.
Oh, definitely. I think he's a bottom 3 pitcher on the slate.
No, I was not giving him enough credit.
Yeah, right. I mean, isn't he though? I mean, he's got to be.
Let's see. Alexander, Cool. I think Davis Martin's there. He's at least in the top 5. I mean, if you really want to get tactical, like Jack Flaherty might be a bottom 5 pitcher in the slate. Like, if you want to look at the numbers, if you care about such things, his Sierra is the second worst in the slate.
You said Flaherty's is?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like not long term, he can't be.
It's this season. It's what we got to work with. But yeah, like theoretically, he should be better than his numbers. But his ERA is 5, and the math says he's actually worse. He's been a little bit lucky there. Not much lucky, but yeah. By the way, we were talking about it before in the show as far as Cleveland. That lineup did change on us. It did get
different. I saw that. I wanted to bring that up, but I don't know what's going on, so I didn't want to say something wrong. But what is going on?
It's Quan, Arias, J-Ram, Naylor, Jimenez, Gonzalez, Brennan, Hedges, Straw. So whoever was batting second before, I forget the person's name, I think is no longer in the lineup because Arias moved up to the 2 spot.
So Freeman was batting second.
He's gone.
And then,
that's what it was.
And then Hedges wasn't even in the lineup.
He took over for Freeman. Yeah.
Okay. But I mean,
it wasn't free.
They had a different catcher in there.
Why did they switch catchers?
I don't know.
Okay. What's going on in Cleveland? We should do that to the what's his name? Windhorst. Do you know the NBA meme? Are you aware of this?
No.
What's going on in Utah? You don't remember this? That was like all the rave on Twitter like a month ago before they started trading players. Nope, no idea?
No, Dean, I'm not paying attention to NBA right now. I got enough going on.
Dude, who's your NBA team? You got a team?
No, I don't have teams, Dean. It's whoever I have money on. That's my team.
As a kid, when you watched the association, who'd you root for?
I really liked the Hornets. And of course, I'm from Maine, so I watch the Celtics all the time. But
yeah, Boston gets that entire area, I guess, right? Basically.
Yeah.
All of New England. Why the Hornets? You thought those uniforms were cool, right? You like those expansion uniforms?
Yes, and I for whatever reason I loved Glenn Rice.
Oh man, yeah, I love Glenn Rice. Yeah,
and I loved
Well, yeah, Larry Johnson, Alonzo Mourning, Muggsy Bogues, Rex Chapman.
That whole team, I loved that team, and I loved the Supersonics. Like I loved Gary Payton. I loved Sean Kemp.
Sure.
Those are my favorite teams growing up.
Shortstop.
I think you can get to Trey Turner. Maybe not on DK, but on FanDuel, I think you can. If you can't, Carlos Correa is probably your next best option. I've talked about this Nationals team. I really don't mind CJ Abrams on DraftKings. Dylan Moore on FanDuel is another decent punt. But I would prefer just paying the $600 more for Correa. But I know that salary might be tough tonight, so if you need it, more is there. I'm not really sure what to do with this Houston team. I'm always a fan of them, but I don't think this is the best spot. It's like, but we haven't said one word about them tonight. And
Alvarez is back. Jordan's back in the lineup. What it's worth,
right? But Pena got shoved down to the 7 hole, so he's going to be a forgotten guy tonight. And I think that Houston's so good; they're always worth a tournament shot. So I'm just a big fan of his, and I think that he's going to be super super low owned. I just think guys like Bobby Witt's too expensive on both sites. Like I can't do it. I don't think, as much as I like the Rangers, I want to go out for the righties, so I don't think I can get to Seager. Wander Franco is too expensive on DraftKings. There's a lot of guys that are I think Lindor is too expensive I think Bogarts is too expensive. There's a lot of guys. O'Neal Cruz is $5,700.
That's the one I was waiting for. I love O'Neal Cruz as like a leverage tournament play because people are going to be playing Flaherty and they're not playing Cruz at 5.7 on DK. Like there's no chance to roster.
I agree with you. I know that he's good, and I know that we talk about him every show, but I just can't get behind 5,700. I don't know.
You know what?
He has to hit a home run, and like is a solo home run even enough?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Once the lineup is locked, the salaries don't matter, right? It's just sort of, but I just think it's a really interesting spot, and he has the ability to be the highest scoring on this slate.
Yes, that is true. I can't get behind that. I wouldn't do it.
I don't know what Flaherty's ability at holding on runners is, but Cruz can also swipe some bags too. Yeah, I play him on FanDuel more likely. On DK, I'm probably not going to get there. But I like the idea until I try to put him on my lineup. I'm like, I can't make this work, man.
You can do that. I mean, on FanDuel, you can. FanDuel, you can really do whatever you want tonight.
Yeah.
So I have no issue if you want to one-off O'Neal Cruz on FanDuel. I can't get behind that on DraftKings. I think that's too hard, and I think you're giving up too much.
Sam in chat just joined. Quick summary and pitching. We got the Crunch Time crew. You're going to have Dave Potts and Derek Carty going to give you a summary as far as pitchers in like 5 minutes or so. So stick around for that. Carty, we'll tell you. Well, they're all going to go around the horn. Dave Potts as well as Carty and Kevin Roth. Let's know what's going on in Washington as far as the weather. It was a slight upgrade in his article, so maybe it's going to be a little more playable. Of course, that's only pertinent to the DK slate. That game is not going to be played on FanDuel. FanDuel throws out doubleheaders. Let's hit up the outfield. I saw somebody in chat saying Soto's their favorite outfielder. He's got a meaningful discount off of guys like Ohtani, off of guys like Trout, guys like Judge, and San Diego, one of our preferred teams. We've talked about them throughout the show, facing one of the weaker pitchers, Davis Martin, on the slate. Feel free to go wherever you want. Obviously, there's a plethora of options in the outfield. Who are some of your favorites?
Yeah, so let's just talk about that Philly game real quick. If we get the go-ahead, I really like getting to, Kyle Schwarber. I think that a lot of people might look at that weather and get scared off. So that whole team's going to be super, super low owns. Same thing with Bryce Harper. If you don't want to deal with the weather risk, I see no reason to stay away from Aaron Judge. Like, if you want to pay for one premium outfielder, I think that Judge is my favorite. But obviously, outfield's loaded like it is every single night.
Favorite salary saver in the outfield?
Probably Jarren Duran.
We want to pick on Manoah, huh?
I don't want to pick on him, but it's, it kind of depends on what it does for the rest of your team, right? Like,
yeah.
If you need that flat 2K guy, which you might tonight, he would be my favorite of those guys at the 2K price mark. I'm not saying you have to play him. I'm not saying he's a must play by any means, but he would be my favorite punt. If you have a little extra money, I would prefer getting to like Lars Nootbaar. But if you don't, then I also wouldn't mind going to like Profar. Also, he's 3,700 on DK. I would like to be able to get to Lane Thomas, but I don't know if I can because of the weather.
Trace Thompson's 2.4, by the way, batting 6. I like that as a cheapie.
Yeah. What's he on FanDuel?
I don't know, but I would guess like 2.2 or 2.5 or something like that. Bellinger's 3.3, Taylor's 3.4. And I mentioned Badu earlier. He's 2.7. Just DK specific. I'm trying to find some other.
Thompson's 2.4 on FanDuel. So that's okay. That's okay. Obviously, it's better. And then, again, I'm just going to talk about these Giants real quick. Jock Peterson, 2.7. Yaz, 2.7. Like, that's a little too cheap for both those guys. And I know it's a bad ballpark. I know it's not the best matchup, but I think that they're discount for sure.
Brandon in chat's telling me Texas is going to smash. You've kind of mentioned Texas in passing.
I love Texas. I'd like to see their lineup though.
Yeah, have we got a lineup just yet or no? They're still kind of stuck.
I don't think so. Not that I've seen.
Who are your favorite Texas pieces? Is it the obvious ones like Garcia,
Semien, Garcia, and Young are my favorite.
Would you throw in Seager L on the L? I guess you throw him in the stack, right?
Who?
Seager. Assuming Seager cracks it, would you throw him in the lineup?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I can do it, but yes. I mean, obviously Seager is an amazing hitter, but yeah, I really love the Rangers stay as a value.
I'm hearing Chief Mineralogist Kevin Roth. You not see Dave Potts? Is he still? Did he have the fish? I know he wasn't feeling particularly well yesterday. Is he
His
coming?
internet got the fish.
Say it again.
His internet got the fish.
Oh, well, there you go. So, all right, that's unfortunate. Is it just Carty flying solo with us, or maybe we got some backup getting the back call, or what? The bat signal being thrown up to somebody.
I think TJ is going to hop in.
All right, Roth, you're messing with us as far as this Philadelphia game. I was told Washington. I should tell you the home team. You don't know.
Thank you. I have no idea who you were talking about. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's also, of course, it's Washington. You've kind of pitched the perfect game throughout this season. You mentioned it several times, sort of, very close to.
Yeah, and,
it's
been good.
Washington's like, nah, not so fast. You still got to deal with us.
Yeah,
your own nemesis.
You got to end the season on a low note, and Washington is that low note. I think they're going to play because they have to get in 3 games over the next 3 days, and it doesn't get any better. I think they just play it wet and they play. I mean, that's my lean.
And it's just going to rain throughout the entire game to various degrees, but not to the degree where you can't play through it. Is that the thought process?
Off and on light rain. Apparently my mic sounds horrible today. And yes, it does. This new system that we use, StreamYard, let me complain about that because unless they sponsor us, it doesn't register my mic. I don't have my fancy camera. It doesn't know what I'm doing. So yeah, my mic sounds like shit and I don't know what to do about it.
Well, you know what? We're going to need you. You're going to power on through. I hear you just fine. It's a little, it could be better. It's like a B plus, B minus, rating on a curve.
It's not.
You definitely have the right microphone. Like you have it using the right one, right? It's not like your default laptop microphone or something like that.
No, it is my default laptop one because it refuses to register this like $1,000 piece of equipment right here. It just pretends it doesn't exist. So I don't know what to do.
Oh man, Carty, that kind of what should we do with that, Carty? If that game's a go, because and our conversation, myself and Tim, we're talking mostly like, it's probably not going to play. And now, does that change things up for you? Because I know I ran stuff earlier, and Philadelphia was popping up in all sorts of optimals, and
that likes Philly quite a bit tonight. So if that's good to go, then yeah, I think you should be firing up some Philly stuff.
Yeah. I mean, Tommy Romero, is he not the stud of the future?
Maybe not so much.
But Kevin, is that going to be like horrible weather conditions all game, right?
Yeah, it's really not good for hitting. Winds are blowing in like 15 to 20 miles per hour. It's off and on light rain. It's not good hitting conditions at all.
Yeah.
What do we have as far as a sample and weather edge? I'm trying to pull it up now. We have no historical data. This has never happened before in the history of this ballpark, Kevin. So that's always kind of dicey as is.
It's not terrible. It's 60 degrees there, which is like the same as every other park. There's some wind blowing in, I guess, but
17 miles per hour wind.
It doesn't seem awful.
Okay.
I see 12. If it's 17, that's a little more, but yeah. I mean, it's also still Tommy Romero.
You got to factor that in.
Right.
And every other pitcher in the slate's amazing. Not everyone, but a lot. You'll be talking about it in a second. Well, what did we disagree with Carty? Let's start a fight, Tim. There was something you disagree with as far as.
I just was surprised to see Corbin Burns higher than DeGrom for raw points. That was all.
You want to fight me over it?
Not really, but I mean, I will. I mean, we could do like a beer chugging bet. Who gets more raw points?
I mean, DeGrom is way better than everyone else on planet Earth, but his matchup is considerably harder. Like he's a park downgrade. He's facing an elite offense, and Burns is facing a terrible offense. And Burns has a longer leash. Like maybe because the Mets are like whatever, they give DeGrom more tonight, but like in general, they've kind of been keeping him in that like low 90s range, which Burns could go 100, 105 if he wants to, 110 even.
And see, I don't disagree with anything that he just said. I just think that I still like DeGrom's K's more, I guess is what I'd say.
TJ's answered the back signal. What's up, TJ? You joined the show. Appreciate you Going to give some tournament takes, I presume, as well as, Derek Carty in just a second. You guys are going to be knocking out the FanDuel sponsor Crunch Time. Myself and Tim will be stepping aside as well. You got anything else for the boys, Tim, or we're going to go?
No, we're good.
All right. FanDuel sponsor Crunch Time. Do appreciate y'all watching. Well, TJ will badger you guys to hit the like button. I was going to say, but TJ's all over it. You want to get some Spidey bombs, you know what you got to do. Hit that like button. Myself and Tim, we're going to see ourselves out. It's going to be Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth taking over. Roth, it's all you.
Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate it, Tim. Appreciate it, Dino. Shout out to Broccoli Boy in the chat who says, Tim needs some art on the wall. He looks like he's in the RG hostage room, which I got a kick out of that. We do. He doesn't quite have the classy backdrop that Carty has there in his multi-million-dollar New York City penthouse, but we are happy to be joined by some of the sharpest and best backdropped men in the world. One, it is Mr. Derek Carty. He is CEO of the Bat and the BatX Enterprises. Carty, how you feeling, bud?
Could you say that again? You sound like you're underwater. I can't understand what you're saying.
It's gonna I'm trying to yell and enunciate to the best of my ability.
You're fine. I'm just messing with you.
It's gonna piss me off and be in my head all day. But how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Already hit a couple bets this afternoon in games. That's nice. Did really well with Thursday night football props last night, so that's good. And we got a baseball slate today with 30 good pitchers, so that's fun.
Okay, I think 29 because at least one of them apparently sucks. I know that. I know one of them is no good. Hey, we also have the one and only is TJ. TJ, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. We had Tim looked like he was being held ransom. You sound like you're being held ransom. I'm not even supposed to be here today. So we got a makeshift show, but we're ready to make it happen, ready to win some money, ready to help the people win some money. I did the FanDuel Friday show for baseball with Dre earlier today. So I'm ready to be in the zone, ready to help out. And maybe when we get to question time, direct the DK questions over to Carty. But other than that, I'm ready to roll. Okay. Well, we appreciate you stepping in. Cheese was set. He was ready to go, and his internet clocked out 3 minutes before the show. So thank you for very, very last minute jumping in. But guys, this is it. This is Crunch Time. It is indeed sponsored by FanDuel. Make sure you're signing up for the FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal sports betting state. Take advantage of their fantastic bonus offer. It is the no sweat first bet. It is up to 1K. And I just have this hankering, guys, to drive to Louisiana and start sports betting. Is that crazy, Carty?
No, not at all. Especially if you're using the bat and the blitz. It's probably a very smart decision.
I feel like I just need to make this happen. Something came over me today, and I was like, I need to drive to Louisiana and get some sports bets down. So we'll be in touch about the bat and the blitz before I make that happen. Boys, let's talk about this slate here. There is a weather concern. It is in Washington. And if they don't announce a late start, they're just going to play. They're just going to play. I don't even want to him and haw. He and haw? I don't want to him haw, he haw. I don't want to any hawing. I just think they're going to play. And they're going to play in some off and on light rain. And then at times it's going to be a little heavier than that. But they need to get the game in. So they're going to play. That's it. Pencils down. Time's up, pencils down. I think they're going to play. So let's talk about what we're going to do about not just that, but everything in general. So, Carty, you want to give us a slate overview?
Yeah. So it's a slate where there's just so many paths that are viable. We have. I think
someone said game PPD. I hope he's kidding.
What PPD?
It's just postponed after all of that round.
Is this the Philly one? What is this?
Yeah, postponed.
Oh my God, that's just so bad. Someone cut that and then take the video and burn it. Just shoot it off into space, burn it, do all of the things. Oh man, literally 5 seconds after they're just going to play, and that's all there is to say about it. Hey, they're not going to play, even though the weather would have been okay to play in some light rain. Game's postponed. All right, there we go. Second game ruled out. It is official. So, do me a favor, pretend that never happened, and Rama says you should have hemmed and hawed a little bit. Yes, I should have. Had I just hawed a little longer, I could have stalled for that. Okay, hey, it's postponed, so that game now off the table. Carty, didn't mean to interject, but that's just incredible timing.
No, that's fine. Yeah, so I was saying, this is a slate where there's like so many things you can do, because last I counted, I think there were 7 or 8 pitchers that projected for 20 or more DraftKings points. Like there's a lot of slates where we have 0, and we have like 7 or 8 of them today. And then we have another probably 7 or 8 that project above 15 points, which some slates we have like 2 or 3. So like half the pitchers on the slate you can play. And then on the hitting side, there isn't really like a standout offense. So you can probably play half the hitter teams as well. In part because like there's so many good pitchers on this slate that like there aren't a lot of bad ones that we want to pick on. So like everyone kind of just gets clustered. So you really can do a whole lot of weird stuff on this slate. You probably don't have to worry too much about ownership outside of like 2 pitchers, and then everything else is probably just like just fine. You can just do it.
Okay, very good. I like those kind of slates, but let's talk about what we should do here pitcher wise, what you like, Carty, and of course what the brain likes. That would be the bat, the computer that runs your life.
It's a good thing that nickname isn't already used for like a player or something. So
true,
So Corbin Burnes and Jacob deGrom are like the clear top 2 guys, and they are definitely going to pick up the most ownership tonight. As we kind of were talking about earlier when the other guys were here, the bat likes Burnes more than deGrom tonight. Not in general, but tonight. He's a little bit cheaper in general, and he's in like a way better spot. He's facing Miami, who is not good. And he has a longer leash than deGrom in general. deGrom is facing Atlanta in Atlanta, so it's a park downgrade. He's facing a really good offense. He's deGrom, so he still projects great, but Burnes projects better. On one pitcher sites like FanDuel, I think you take the savings on Burnes, who's 1.3K cheaper, projects 4 points better. You just play him in cash, and that's it. In GPPs, or on DraftKings rather, just play Burnes and deGrom together, probably. I think the other guy that you can think about playing instead of deGrom is Logan Gilbert, who's really good, who's in a fantastic matchup against Oakland, who's just butt awful. And he's 8.4K, so you're saving like a lot over deGrom. So if you want to play Gilbert and Burnes together, I'm totally cool with that. And then in GPPs, you have another like dozen guys that are all pretty good. The other guys that project above 20 points, you have Kershaw, you have Darvish, you have Flaherty, you have Sandy Alcantara. So it's just a loaded slate. So I think any of those guys are fine. Sandy projects the lowest owned out of all of those, probably because he's a little more expensive than some of the others and really not that much better in terms of projection. But you can take that angle. And you can go deeper than that as well. Like you can play a cheaper guy. You can play, I think the guys that I like the most, aside from Flaherty, who's like way too cheap at 7.4. But if you're like really digging deeper for like lower owned guys or just like off the wall guys, Alex Cobb and Reed Detmers are both 7.7 on DraftKings. I think they're both definitely in the mix, in addition to kind of that whole like top 2 tiers of like aces.
Okay, very good. TJ, talk to me about what your plans are here in the old pitcher department.
So I'm not messing around today at pitchers. There's a bunch of options I would consider if I was running 150 would be in my pool, but I'm keeping it pretty tight today. I'm running 3 lineups on FanDuel. I have 2 Corbin Burnes and 1 Jacob deGrom. If I'm pivoting off of them on that site, I would be looking at somebody like Darvish, somebody like Alcantara. But the thing is because we don't really have any super chalky offenses, I don't feel like I need to do that. And so because I don't feel like I need to, I don't really want to. I would just rather take the amazing matchup Corbin Burnes has, or just take the best pitcher to ever throw a baseball. I don't think you need to mess around with somebody like Logan Gilbert on FanDuel, where he doesn't have much price discount. If I was running out 150, though, he'd still be in my pool, as would somebody like even Joe Ryan on both sites. If I was running a lot of lineups, he'd be somebody in my pool as well. But Jack Flaherty is nice and cheap. I just don't think you really need him. And I'm not going to be messing around. I'm just going to be going heavy on Burns and DeGrom.
Okay, very good. Guys, let's talk some of the bats.
Burns would be my preference on FanDuel as well.
Okay, all right. You're with Carty in that. All right, let's talk about some of the bats and some of the stacks. TJ, you can lead us off. What are you liking? What are you loving?
So I'm on the same page as most of the stacks that the bats like today, except for one in particular that I like quite a bit for tournaments, and that's Seattle. But we'll get there because that's more my sneaky tournament stack. My favorite is without a doubt the Dodgers. They're the best spot on the slate today. They're number one, but I also really like in terms of like spend up style offenses. I don't mind Houston. Toronto I like quite a bit. The Yankees I like. And then my favorite teams to save salary are going to be the Minnesota Twins and the Seattle Mariners.
Very good. Carty, I want to talk stacks, but I did miss this question here that came in earlier from Scorekeeper. Why no love for Framber Valdez? Tampa's horrible. Did you mention him when you talked GPP plays?
I didn't. He's I mentioned all the guys that were over 20 points. He's 19 and a half. So like he's certainly fine. You can play him. Like he's right there.
Okay. All right. Great.
There's just so many pitchers on this slate. Like I could name 15 of them.
Okay.
I drew a line.
That's a good choice. That naming 15 doesn't really help anyone. Okay. Let's talk about some of your favorite stacks here, Carty.
Yeah. So, that likes the Dodgers the most, especially now that we don't have Philly. It's not like they're that much better than everyone else, though. And a user pointed this out to me earlier. Like they don't have anything to play for right now. Like they've clinched the best record. They have nothing. So like they could easily just like pinch hit for some of their guys, especially their veterans, which scares me a little bit. So like you can play the Padres, you can play Toronto, Texas, Houston, LA, the other LA, the Angels. Like those are probably like the next like cluster, and any of them are fine. So yeah, and again, ownership you don't have to worry about too much. So I think that's probably the teams that I would be picking from, but there are another handful that are viable.
Okay, very good. Let's go position by position. So get everybody all the plays. Carty, what do we do in a catcher?
Yep. So catcher, Will Smith is going to be our top guy, but he's expensive. You definitely don't have to get up there in your Dodger stacks. Absolutely. But Gary Sanchez is 3K hitting cleanup against one of the weaker pitchers on the slate who happens to be left-handed. So Gary Sanchez, I think, is a great play. If you need to save a little bit more money, you have Ryan Jeffers in the same lineup for 2.6. And if you need to go even cheaper, you have Logan O'Hoppe for 2,100 against Glenn Otto. So those are kind of your price point guys. And then obviously in your stacks, you're doing a Toronto stack, like Kirk or Jansen is fine, like that kind of thing. Okay,
very good. TJ, anything you want to add there?
My obligatory, I always love Danny Jansen, but other than that, nothing really. I love spending down a little extra for Ryan Jeffers. I think he's going to come in maybe even lower owned than we have him projected because people are going to want to go up to Gary Sanchez in that spot. But I like both of those catchers on FanDuel and Will Smith there as well.
Very good. First base, TJ.
First base position, it differs quite a bit site to site because on DraftKings, you got Shohei Ohtani all the way up top, who is my favorite option. But on FanDuel, Freddie Freeman is probably going to be my top one, but I also love Vladimir Guerrero, Jose Miranda, and then using this position for those cheap catchers like we talked about, Jefferson Sanchez, or even somebody in my Mariners stack that I talked about liking, like Carlos Santana. He's not somebody I'd play on his own. Ty France, not somebody I'd play on his own, but I like them in my Mariners stacks to get sneaky.
Okay.
I'll also say Dean gave one of the worst performances ever for people hitting the like button. We got 250 watching, nowhere near enough. So if we want the Spidey Bomb today, which hit yesterday, we're going to need 100 likes. So we need the people to pick it up a little bit. Slide that finger over, give the like button a nice little press.
Since you mentioned that, I got to say, Hoosiers in the YouTube chat, when you jumped on the show, said, Only 51 likes after 90 minutes. TJ will not be happy with that.
No, I am upset.
Smash that like button. It's free content here by some of the sharpest minds in the biz and me. So go ahead, hit that like button. Carty, what do you got here at first?
So on DraftKings, where Ohtani is first base eligible, I like Ohtani a lot. Glenn Otto is one of the weaker pitchers on the slate. I mentioned LA is one of the better stacks tonight. Ohtani's very good at baseball. You also have Freddie Freeman in your Dodger stacks, or as a one-off, or in cash. Like, I think he's good. And if you need to save money, Nate Lowe and Jose Miranda, I think, are kind of the two guys that you're doing it with. On FanDuel, I like Vlad at his price a little bit, especially in tournaments. I think you can also think about playing a catcher on FanDuel, like Gary Sanchez at 2-2. We mentioned him at the catcher position, but like, I don't think you have to play a first baseman tonight. You can just play Gary Sanchez. You can play Will Smith. You can play Alejandro Kirk. Like, they're all like legit good hitters, and they're all really cheap on FanDuel.
Okay, very good. Take me to second base, Carty.
Yep. So on FanDuel, Max Muncy is always really cheap. He's 2.9. The Dodgers are facing one of the weaker pitchers on the slate. They're the best offense in baseball. So Muncy's great. Luis Rengifo hitting leadoff for the other LA, I think, is really good. Gavin Lux is in the lineup for the Dodgers tonight. He's 2-1. I think he's good. I like Texas quite a bit as stacks tonight. I think there's a lot of stolen base potential against Detmers that people are going to miss. It's also a pretty nice park. Semion's got the platoon advantage. He's hitting leadoff. I like him definitely in your stacks. But I think you can also think about spending up if you want, especially on DraftKings where he's only 4-5. I think Semien is probably your cash guy. If you need to save some money, Dylan Moore at 3-1 on DraftKings hitting leadoff against Waldachuk, I think is good. And then yeah, guys in your stacks, Cronenworth in your San Diego stacks, Altuve in your Astros stacks, that whole thing.
Okay. TJ, second base.
Absolutely no notes, exact same page. I'll throw in Gabriel Arias, Arias, as a 2.6K punt batting second for Cleveland on DraftKings. And on FanDuel, basically nothing else to change. There's one other player I like quite a bit on DraftKings at the position, and that's Gleyber Torres, just because I feel like he's significantly underpriced on that site. About fine on FanDuel, but Muncy is my guy on FanDuel. Rengifo would be number 2, and then on DraftKings, it's Semien or Gleyber Torres.
Very good. Okay, third base.
So third base on FanDuel, we have a much better position than some of the other ones we've been looking at already here. You can play Muncy here if you want to, but I wouldn't, because I'd way rather just play him at second base. Devers is in an interesting spot against Manoah because nobody's going to play him, and Manoah struggles a lot more against lefties. Manny Machado's in a good spot, and he's not going to pick up a lot of ownership. Same with Jose Ramirez in a great spot, who's not going to pick up a lot of ownership. But you also have these cheapies that are very interesting. Matt Chapman, Jose Miranda, Gio Urshela, Josh Young. But the Spidey Bomb is actually at the third base position, and we are 15 likes away. So I'm going to need a few more people to hit that like button. But the Spidey Bomb today is Eugenio Suarez.
Yes. I approve of that. All right, TJ, third base. What do you like?
Carty, third base. What do you like?
What did I say?
You said TJ.
Yeah, Carty, third base. What do you like?
Yeah, I like a lot of the same stuff that TJ said. Josh Young in particular is, I think, the cheap guy. I don't think we have a lineup there yet, but assuming he's in the lineup, he's definitely the cheap guy I like. I don't think you have to spend up. Like, none of the expensive guys are in like great spots tonight. But like TJ said, you can then get them at lower ownership in GPPs. Guys like Ramirez, Machado, Devers, Max Muncy, even though he's second eligible on FanDuel, he's third only on DraftKings. I like him a lot. In Dodger stacks, I like him a lot as a one-off. Matt Chapman on FanDuel is super cheap. I like him a lot as a cash guy. We mentioned him at second also, but Rengifo is really cheap on FanDuel. So if you're not spending up for one of the big guys, I think that's probably what you're doing.
Very good. Shortstop, Carty.
Trey Turner's the top guy, but he is expensive. And again, we don't know if these Dodgers guys are for sure going to play the whole game. So I like Turner a lot.
I'll interrupt quick and just say we did get a Rangers lineup, and it's pretty normal. Young is in it. Semyon Seager, Lowe, Garcia, Young, Matthias, Tavares, Thompson.
So while we're talking about Seager, I like Seager a lot. He's probably the best and kind of most affordable, like high-end-ish guy. He projects as basically the best guy on the slate, and he's 4-5 on DraftKings. He's 3-4 on FanDuel, so he's great. Then you have Carlos Correa, who on FanDuel in particular is always a little underpriced. He's 2.9. He's got the platoon advantage against Alexander. He's really good. Dylan Moore, who I mentioned at, I don't know, whatever position on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he's shortstop, 2-3 on FanDuel. He's a really good way to save money there. And then on DraftKings, I really think you probably just try to get to Seager, honestly. I don't love the cheap options at short on DraftKings, so that's probably just what I would do.
TJ, did you want to interrupt or you want to go?
For one, this isn't the show with Luch where we have the mute versus interruption competition. And for two, that was a very reasonable interruption because it was to give a lineup that the people needed to know was out. Carty needed to know that was out. So that was a totally reasonable interruption. I resent that, Steve or Devin, whoever's behind the scenes right now.
It was reasonable, but it was also hilarious when it just popped up on the screen. Interruption.
That was too quick. It has to be Steve because that was way too quick.
All right, TJ, what do you like here at shortstop?
So I'm playing 3 lineups today on FanDuel, and I have Correa, Moore, and Turner. Those are my 3 favorite options. Corey Seager is nice and cheap on FanDuel, 3,400. That is just... I feel like Corey Seager should never be down that low, and where he's 45 on DK, I feel like that's the spot you go to as well. I agree with Carty there. If you need to go really cheap for some reason, maybe you're going CJ Abrams against Noah Syndergaard on DK, but it's Correa as the cash option for me on FanDuel, and then Moore and Turner are my next favorites.
Okay, very good. That brings us to the outfield. Good, sir. Tell me what we're. These names at the top. Ooh. Oh, it looks so good. TJ, what do we like?
It's tough to choose because Judge is in a great spot. Ohtani's in a great spot. Soto's in a great spot. Trout's in a great spot. I think if you have the salary, I'd prioritize them Judge, Ohtani, Trout for me. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how I'd want to go about it. I guess salary aside, no, it'd be Judge, Trout, Ohtani for me. But you do get the discount on FanDuel on Ohtani, so I like him a little bit better there. And then on DraftKings, where it's straight up, I mean, just flip a coin, try and play Ohtani at first and Trout in the outfield. But I'd rank them Judge 1, then Ohtani and Trout 2A, 2B, and Soto just behind them. I don't mind Mookie Betts in the same spot, similar spot, but even though I like the Dodgers a lot tonight, because of how many great outfielders we have, I actually kind of like stacking the infielders or some of these cheaper outfielders like Trace Thompson. For the Dodgers as opposed to going up for Betts and then just getting somebody else on the expensive range. But some tournament options that I really like as well. Taylor Ward, I'm going to be getting to tonight. Stanton's interesting. Lars Nootbaar for tournaments or cash. I think you can go with today. And then these cheapies for the Dodgers like Trace Thompson. And finally, one of my favorite players in my Mariners stack is Mitch Haniger.
Okay, excellent. Carty, what say you? I guess like we want all of these expensive guys, but we also want 2 stud pitchers. So I'm assuming we can't afford all of these expensive guys.
No, you probably can't. The bat likes the same top 3 as TJ, but it thinks the order is Ohtani, Trout, Judge. I'm not going to argue. Like it's fine. They're all really good tonight. And then Soto is kind of that like 4th, like really good guy. And on FanDuel at his price, I think he's very appealing. On DraftKings, he's just like good. And then because if you're going to be spending on, 1 or 2 of these expensive outfielders and you're spending on pitching and, maybe you're spending up for like Semyon or Seager or like whatever, you do probably need to punt at least 1 or 2 outfield spots, certainly in cash. So like I think some of the cheap Boston guys, Jarren Duran in particular, leading off against Manoah, I think is really good. He's 2K on both sites. So he's great. You have a cheap Lars Nootbaar. You have Dylan Moore, who we mentioned before, who's multi-position eligible. Same thing with Gavin Lux. On DraftKings, you have Akil Baddoo. You have Trace Thompson, who's really cheap on DraftKings. You have Mark Payton, who's min price on DraftKings. Bubba Thompson, is he in the Texas lineup?
Yeah, he's batting 9th.
Yeah, so Bubba Thompson is in a good spot, a lot of speed, and I mentioned this is a really good stolen base spot, so guys like that have a little bit of extra appeal. Yeah, that's outfield.
Okay, very good. Let's take some
One more person
here.
I think is really interesting for tournaments that we didn't mention is Dalton Varsho, who's batting leadoff for Arizona. He's nice and cheap on FanDuel. He's below 3K. And Cobb is good, but Varsho, like Cobb's best skill is his ability to keep the ball on the ground. And Varsho does have some good fly ball ability. So nice and cheap. He hits the ball very hard, has a lot of power. I like Dalton Varsho in the leadoff spot for tournaments.
Okay. Very, very good. Guys, we still have 8 or so minutes here until lock. So let's get to some QQs. The people want a home run pick. And TJ, you're the man for the job. What do you like?
We got 6 more likes before I can give a second one because we haven't even hit the 100 plateau yet. So, we got Eugenio Suarez is the first one. Seattle is my favorite sneaky stack today. They're not my favorite overall stack, but if I'm playing a chalky lineup and I'm looking to get different, Seattle is the way that I'm going to be going about it today. So Suarez is my first home run call, and I don't know. Carty, is there anyone who's bet value that you really like to hit a home run until we get these last 3 likes?
I mean, are you talking like you said, like betting value?
Yeah, like if they have some real good home run odds and you think they'd be worthwhile a bet today.
Actually, there's more than there usually is. Alejandro Kirk looks pretty good.
Alejandro Kirk, I like that.
Plus,
I think it's worth
950.
I think it's worth noting too. Just quit in the pitcher summary for anybody who joined late. If you're playing tournaments, there are any of these elite options you can sprinkle in. But we're team Burns 1 and DeGrom 2. Burns does have an extreme pitching umpire today as well, and so I think that can kind of be a tiebreaker if you're having a tough call. But Spidey Bomb number 2 today is going to be Vladimir Guerrero.
Vladdy Daddy. Oh, you can always count on him. Okay, very nice. All right.
10% ownership on FanDuel. You love Vlad as a Spidey Bomb.
Love it. All right, I'm going to scroll up a little bit here. DK's single entry here. This is a good question. Carty, I guess I'll go to you. Is the chalk build DeGrom Burns? Like, do you have to get different from that?
I do think that's going to be the chalk build, yeah. But there, like we said, there's lots of good ways to get different from that. But yeah, It's not that hard to get DeGrom and Burns. Okay, very good. FanDuel Cash 3v3. TJ, coming to you with this one. Do you prefer Soto, Stanton, and Urshela, or Haniger, Springer, Dinger, and Ty France?
That first one. Forget it's cash, it's that first one.
Okay. Mlb Dfs. This is a FanDuel Cash question, Carty. You want Moore and Correa or Miranda and Nootbaar?
Moore, Correa, or who in Nootbaar?
Miranda.
They're both fine, but I'll do the first one with Correa.
Very good, very good. Let's see, scrolling down a wee bit. FanDuel question for you here, TJ. You like Flaherty with a game stack of LA, Texas?
Flaherty with LA and yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay, very good. Let's see. Oh, this. Okay, this is like a counter question. CLT says, Carty, do you like any cheap Pittsburgh bats for leverage off Flaherty on DK? Do we need leverage off Flaherty?
I don't think you do.
That is way overthinking.
Yeah, he'll get some ownership, but he's not going to be. I mean, the bat has him projected for 11% as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th highest owned pitcher. Like, the only guys you can really get leverage against today are Burns and DeGrom, and I don't think you want to do that.
Okay, very good. All right, DK Cash question. Let's see. Carty, I'm coming back to you here. Hop, Otani, and Thompson, or Sanchez, Simeon, Bellinger?
That's really close. You're not going to go wrong either way. I'll take the first one, but they're both fine.
Okay, very good. Scorekeeper saying, I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Yankees-Baltimore game total will be over 12. Herman is terrible. Baltimore's going to shell him. Yankee Stadium's going to be flowing with energy for Judge and the rest of New York. Game stack, Yankees-Baltimore. TJ, what say you?
I'm good with playing both of those teams, especially the Yankee side of things, and I don't mind Baltimore either. But I think if you're going to win the GPP, you have to hope like hell that it scores more than 12.
Yeah. All right. Aside FanDuel single entry, let's see, TJ, right back to you here. Kershaw or Darvish straight up?
Darvish for me.
Very good. Jay says DK single entry. Carty, is it Burns, DeGrom, and a spend up in the outfield? Yes, it's Burns, DeGrom, and a spend up in the outfield. Trout, Judge, Ohtani. If so, does a spend up elsewhere? I see. He's asking, is the chalk there going Burns, DeGrom, and one spend up in the outfield? And if so, does a spend up elsewhere lead to a better build? TJ, that's kind of what you were doing, right?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think there's some. I do like. Unless your one spend up elsewhere is like Ohtani at the first base position, I think I would rather get one of these outfielders.
Okay, excellent. CLT says, well, do you like cheap bats because Flaherty sucks? Not because of leverage, but do you like him because he sucks? Is that better, Carty?
I don't think Flaherty sucks, no. I don't really like Pittsburgh tonight that much. Yeah. I think Flaherty's a very good pitcher.
Okay, fair enough. We got 2 minutes until the lock. Caught up on some of these QQs here on the RG Discord, which, by the way, you should absolutely be a member of. You can ping Andy Means with a question at any time of day, 7 days a week, and he will answer it. I don't know if he ever watches it. I've just promised away so many things. All right, let's see. Don't forget, the Washington game has been postponed in case you guys missed that. That is a thing, and it did happen. So make sure you have no Washington or Philly guys in your lineup. Pit stack in a FanDuel GPP. Is this what we just went over? Was that against Flaherty?
Yeah.
Okay. Then
I think it's too cute tonight. You don't need to pick on a good pitcher.
Great. Okay. Cleveland Picker says, FanDuel single entry. TJ, you like Ohtani or Soto?
Ohtani.
Sam McLeod. God, I love that last name. Is Ohtani and Altuve okay for one-offs in a FanDuel GPP?
Yes.
Okay. Mark Sanchez, the old, in case it's really him, I was going to say the old butt fumble, but the old excellent quarterback says, is Seattle chalky, TJ?
No, they're not. We're currently projecting Seattle for 3% ownership as a team. I think elsewhere in the industry, there may be as high as 5, 6, 7, but they're definitely not chalky.
Let's see. Hey, what's up, guys? Steve O says, on a slate like this with all the aces, are you cool with going 2 aces from the same game, say Burns and Alcantara? Carty?
Yeah, I think you're probably fine to do it. There's so many pitchers that project similarly, though. I mean, you are putting yourself at a slight disadvantage doing that, and I don't see a great reason to do it. It's fine, I guess, but I do think you can pretty easily just play another pitcher.
Okay, excellent. Do you guys FanDuel GPP TJ? Do you like Kelly? Kelly?
Nope.
No. Okay. Who is Kelly? Just like in
Merrill Kelly.
Okay, thanks. All right, hey, we're coming up on the lock here. See if there's any more QQs. Thoughts on Howard batting fourth? Stinichich? Howard Stinichich?
Who?
Are we just making up names? I feel like we might just be making up names. That's always a fun game for me. I love that. Jay Sam says, hey, we hit the lock, by the way. On FanDuel, I really like Suarez in GPPs. You should. He's a Spidey bomb. But I currently have Chapman at third, TJ, and Will Smith and Vlad at util in first. Who would you replace Suarez with if you had to choose? P.S. I also have 2 other Mariners and Blue Jays in this lineup. So he's got Chapman, Will Smith, and Vlad. And I guess one of them has to go.
The answer would be Will Smith, so that you could just complete your stack. But I also think Will Smith is a fine one-off. I don't think there's anything wrong with that lineup whatsoever.
Okay, very good. All right, that works. I'm gonna scroll down, see if we get anything new. Sam says, I have to type something every day just to hear Roth get fired up about my last name. It's Sam McLeod, in case you're wondering what Sam. Like, seriously, if you had a daughter, I would marry her and I would 1000% take her last name. I would not even hesitate. I'd be like, that, yes, that is what I want.
Believe it or not, you could actually just change your last name without losing the current wife you have.
Nah, it's not as fun. That seems less exciting. Okay, afterlock QQ, and then we'll get out of here. What would you do if you caught Judge's 60-second home run ball? This seems very easy. TJ, what would you do?
You hold on to it and see how much you can get for it from the team before giving it back to them.
That's not at all what I.
That's what I'd do. Really? I'd sit back and wait. I'd find references online for auctions for comparative values of, say, I think it should be worth X amount of money, and I think the team and or Aaron Judge would pay for it because they'd want it, and so I'd try and sell it back to them.
Okay, Carty, are you going back to the team, or are you just going highest bidder because who gives you shit? Pay the man his money.
I really don't know. It'd be a tough decision.
Yeah, it is not a tough decision.
If you're the guy who sells it and doesn't give it back, like, you become hated. Like, you can't even show your face in New York after that. Like, a whole city is just blocked off for you. So,
I mean, I am a Jays fan.
Wow, a lot of people in agreement here. I absolutely 100% would just sell it to freaking whoever. Like, I don't care, Tim Jobs, and be like, "That's just give me the money. I don't care. I don't even like baseball enough to care." Okay, that was interesting. Was that like X-Files? What was that noise?
That was me ensuring my phone was muted by unmuting it, then remuting it again.
That's good. All right. Okay. All right. I think with that, we are going to get on out of here. Hoosier said I would burn it and sell the ashes online. That's aggressive. I wouldn't recommend that approach. We're going to get out of here. Hey, if you guys enjoyed this content, and aside from my underwater mic and my terrible camera, look at this. I've got a fancy camera, but is it working? No.
Wow, you sound so good now.
Wait, really?
Yeah, like you're clear. Like you sound normal.
So
you're closer to it. It's a bad mic, so if you get closer, it's gonna make it a little better.
But this isn't even the camera that's cameraing. So this camera isn't cameraing, but it's being used for my audio.
Yeah.
Well, it appears, yes.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That is so weird. Anyways, we'll figure it out. Yeah, my camera is miking and not cameraing, and that's frustrating. Anyways, if you enjoyed this content, despite my terrible underwater,
you sound so good now. We figured it out at the end.
That's so annoying. I can't believe that happened. All right, for Carty and for TJ and for everybody else working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love it, and we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.